Music licensing reimagined.
Long time coming, black on the bottom of my feet from running. Cataracts under my eyes from hustling. Going from buying to selling to customers. Run up the business, God is my witness. Turn up the sun up from under the sun that we maxing our limits. My mind running like Tom Cruise on an action movie. Moving a mission, they say that I'm tripping. I've been told I need a vacation, I'm finessing a visit.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers, and welcome to Stat Diggers for UFC 318. We have Max Holloway going against Dustin Poirier, 3 for the BMF title. And I don't know, people are crapping on the card, Weezy, and I don't quite get it. I'm really looking forward to this card. Would I personally spend $80 to watch it? No, absolutely not. I'm not paying $80 to watch it, but am I looking forward to it? Absolutely, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to, pretty much every single fight on the card. And I think these prelims especially are going to be a lot of fun. Like, I'm looking at the prelims, I see pretty much all, but maybe one or two probably finish. I see a lot of finishes on the prelims. So I'm looking forward to a lot of violent fighters. And yeah, can't wait to break it down tonight. What is up, Weezy? Are you looking forward to UFC 318?
Yeah, it's a weird one in terms of because it's a pay-per-view card, there's a main event and then there's a bunch of fights that are just kind of not great for pay-per-view, but everything on this card is pay-per-view worthy in terms of just being a card with a number next to it, because you got some really fun fighters and some really good, like Islam Dulattov is going to be making his debut here. You got Jimmy Crute, you got Bruno Ferreira, you got Kyler Phillips and Vinicius Oliveira, big names like Zellhuber and Vettori and Allen and Costa and Dan Ige. And then you got a main event between two legends. So I think it's going to be a really fun card. But like you said, are you waiting in line to buy that pay-per-view? Maybe not. But I think it's going to be an action-packed card with a lot of great fights.
Absolutely. Cannot wait to break it down with you, Weezy, in the chat. Before we get into, if you guys could like the video, subscribe. We actually went on time. Like, no joke. We actually started on time tonight. 10:15. You got to love it.
That's the thing about Stat Diggers. We're constantly surprising people. We're growing as human beings every week, Brady, and things sometimes we're going to try to surprise you guys.
Absolutely. So love that. I do got to shout out the sponsor before we get started, and that is going to be none other than our guy Avery. Shout out to Avery for sponsoring the show, guys. Go give him a follow at MMA_Very on X. Hoping to potentially meet up with Avery in Chicago in a couple weeks. UFC 319 next month. Would be nice to hang out with him, and seems like a cool dude. So yeah, shout out to Avery for keeping the show alive. All right, so let's hit up the chat, and then we'll do a recap of what was last night, which last night was a great card. I really enjoyed last night. But first, we have our guy Danny Sullivan saying Holland Span Crute money line lay at plus 150 might be the most what could go wrong parlay in gambling history. That is the most what could go wrong parlay in gambling history, but I actually like it quite a bit, which is crazy. We got Forrest saying, I know Cater is my get some help pick, but can we talk about Chris Curtis's lack of anything for half the fight? Well, that's Chris Curtis. Takes a while to get going, but I did do, Weezy, a poll as always about who needs to get the most help. And if you guys have not voted, be sure to vote. We got Calvin Cater, option number 1. Option number 2, our guy Kennedy and Zachukwu. Option number 3, Junior Tafa. Option number 4, Jason Herzog. Vote to see who needs the most help, and we'll touch on that shortly as well. We got TH, what's good? Dixon saying, thank you, Jason Herzog, for that stoppage that made us a bag. I was happy with the stoppage. I had the under 1.5. I'm not complaining because Herzog screwed me enough. I'm glad I cashed that under. We will promote Herzog for stopping fights, but yeah, I didn't hear many move fighters in that main event. Usually you hear like a move fighter or two, but yeah, shout out to Herzog. Herzog's been doing a lot better for me. Ryan Span at minus 230. Or minus 220. What could go wrong? A lot could go wrong. Brandon said Saul Jason Herzog at the best steakhouse in Nashville after the fights. There you go. Oh, gosh. So Kennedy went missing and had everyone worried just to come back and get a heel hooked from Walker in less than a minute. Get some help. Walker heel hooked Kennedy faster than Junior Tafa And who is the other bum that
Dontel.
Dontel Mays. Just ridiculous. Yeah, Dr. Peener. We'll see Dr. Peener very shortly. We got Aaron with the $5 dono. Appreciate Aaron. He said, Brady, flip my $10 weekly free play from Bet Online to $5.50. 10 to $5.50 is ridiculous. Thanks, Brady and Uncle Weezy, for the insights. Thank you, Aaron, for the dono, and thank you for hanging out with us, man. That's a great hit. Junior Taffa is beyond help. Best bet, Godier, Oliveira, -121. Can't wait to talk about both those fights are incredible. We got Elijah one. Let's go. He says he's taking dog shots on Valentin, McVey, and Vettori. Hammered Kopylov -250. So out of those 4, I like half of those. We got Stubborn Mick saying, I hit Tokus by arm triangle plus 2,500 and all the units on Derek Lewis. Taking my family out to do something fun next weekend. Ponbeam sucks. War Wonder Boys. Shout out to Stubborn Mick. Great hits there. Those exact subs are incredible to hit. So yeah, that was awesome. Let's see. Very curious to hear your thoughts on Phillips Oliveira. That's a very intriguing fight. I've been kind of thinking about it a lot today, actually. Brady just taking the taquitos out of the air fryer now. I haven't had taquitos in a very long time. We got City. City reposted the stream on X. And if you are watching on X, give it a repost. It takes 2 seconds. So shout out to City for reposting the stream. We got our guy Marcel. Get some help. Jason Herzog. He's been needing help for the past year. I'm glad people are starting to finally realize. We got Dr. Peter, our guy. Gentlemen, Brady, I'm so glad you're getting better. I thought you had the onset of AIDS. Relieved it was only laryngitis. Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better. Still not 100%, but feeling a lot better for sure. We got our guy Dan from Half the Battle. Smash the like button for Brother Weezy and Brother Brady. Appreciate you, Dan. Shout out to Dan Levy. Never late. Agreed. What is Walter Walker's beef with heel? I don't know, man, but that's ridiculous. 3 heel hooks in a row. What are the odds, Weezy? 3 heel hooks in a row.
I mean, it's got to. I could calculate it at some point with the stats that we have. I could look up heel hooks and how many fights end in heel hooks, and then the odds of you would take that and you would cube that number. So let's say like 1 out of 1,000 fights ends in heel hook. It would be 1 out of 1,000 cubed. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Ridiculous.
And I mean, like, that setup was nasty. He got it from the back. Like he just dove on it from the guy's back. I've really never seen somebody actually attack it from that angle before, and he had it immediately. I mean, I didn't even blame Kennedy. I was like, that was nasty.
Ridiculous. It was ridiculous. I had a 2-3 bet on Kennedy, and all you can do is just congratulate him. I mean, that's unheard of. This 318 card is a moneymaker. I already have a big play locked in. Looking forward to it. Yeah, I have more action already today than I had on all of last week's card, actually. So hoping it's a good moneymaker. We got Flev Hernandez saying this will be my first card to attend in person. Stoked. Let's go DP. Yeah, you're going to a great card. I'm looking forward to this one. Absolutely. Nashville was an awesome card to be there for in person. Lewis is the man. I'm actually quite upset. My mom and dad were in Nashville, just so happened to be in Nashville for the weekend. They were watching like a baseball tournament or something, and they ended up going to the fight. So they went to the fights without me. And they got to watch a great card. Like, come on. But my mom got to see her first ever UFC card, and what a first card to go to last night. That was a very fun card to watch. Yeah, pipe it up. Pipe the like button. And by the way, Weezy, remember last week I said if we get like 300 likes, I'm going to get a perm.
Yeah.
People thought I meant after the stream. It has to be during the stream while we're live.
Yeah, dude. Come on, man. You're not going to get. We're talking about during the stream.
That's too easy. That's way too easy. So yeah, if we get 300 likes during the stream, sure, I'll get a perm or a tattoo or something, But we can't make it that easy for you guys. If Walker by heel hook is literally going to be -150 next time, maybe.
Dude, Dick's Insider was in one of my chats saying like, yeah, this is going to be the 3rd heel hook in a row. And I was like, dude, you're out of your mind if you think that Walter Walker is going to get a heel hook in this fight. It's funny how wrong we can be sometimes, because, I mean, you would think like, obviously, okay, we've got to really work some heel hook defense here. And, obviously Kennedy was working it, I mean, I'm sure there's no way that they just like left that out of the game planning, but That was slick, man. This guy Walker's a hell of a fighter. He's got a lot of fucking upside coming, I think.
It's crazy, man. Losing to Lucas Presky to 3 heel hooks in a row. I don't get it, but
it's
hey.
a wild sport, man. That's why it's so much fun to cover it.
It's a wild sport. It's a wild sport for sure. All right. So we're gonna do a quick recap of last night. I'll let you kick it off, Wheezy. I know we both did pretty well, but I know you did well, especially with that crazy main event call.
Yeah. I mean, there was my only money line bet of the week was Derek Lewis, straight up 2-unit bet at plus 230 that cashes for 4.6 units. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those bets, like I think those are the ones that you can make the most money on is when somebody's just winning and winning and winning and they're doing it really fast. It leaves a lot of unanswered questions about the fighter, and they take big steps up in competition. And they're, I was actually saying, like, there's no way that Derek Lewis shouldn't be the favorite here. So I don't usually bet more than 1.5 units on underdogs. And this one was one where I was like, I'm comfortable throwing a full 2 units on that. And I also hit Vitor Petrino by submission at plus 950 for a 1/4 unit. But outside of that, I didn't really get the job done, man. I had an under 1.5 rounds for Cater versus Garcia. And Cater was my vote to get some help. Because I think he's kind of done, man. I don't know how the fuck you can manage to make a Steve Garcia fight boring. Yeah. I've never seen one outside of the Pena fight where Pena blanketed him for 14.5 out of the 15 minutes. I can't believe that fight took place the way it was. Brady, I was so confident that somebody was going to be sleeping early in that fight. And after about 3 minutes, I was like, oh boy, this is not playing out the way I thought it would. And that really hurt my day because I had a 3-leg parlay sitting at plus 410. And it was the fight doesn't go to decision for Fatima Klein. That hit barely, but it hit. The over 1.5 rounds for Mike Davis versus Mitch Ramirez. It hit barely, but it hit. And then the 3rd leg was Cater Garcia to end by KO. If that fight ends by KO, that's like a 5.1 unit swing for me. And I already won 3.22 units on the night. So it could have been a huge night if that Cater Garcia fight took place the way I thought it would take place. But it was a very muted pace. And I was shocked to see Calvin Cater fight that way, because he was going to have a guy who was going to be right in his face and he was going to be able to trust his chin and throw. And he just didn't really do that. I think it might be, he's at that age now, for the featherweights, when you're 37, 38, you're clearly getting towards the end of your career. And he looked it in that fight. So yeah, the other misses were just, I had a 3-leg moneyland parlay with my only 3 picks that I got wrong, Brady. So I was 9-3 on my fight picks, but the picks that I got wrong were Kennedy and Zechiku, Chidi Njokuani, and Justin Tafa, or Junior Tafa. Mm-hmm. And I parlayed all 3 of them. So if you're going to miss on a parlay, you might as well miss on all 3 legs. It's the same as getting 2/3 of the way home and then having your heart broken. So if that was one where the bookies could call back and say, you owe us more money for making an extremely ass bet, that would be the one. But they can't do that. So yeah, I wound up 3.22 units with an over 50% return on investment on a card that I just didn't have a lot of bets on because it was a shady card, man.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of old people versus young people, a lot of favorites with a ton of questions, and then a lot of big long layoffs and stuff. So I was glad to keep it small, and I was happy that Derek Lewis got the job done for me.
Yeah, I kept it small as well. I didn't love last week from a betting perspective. Like you said, a lot of older fighters, a lot of weight class switches, a lot of untrustworthy fighter. It was just a card that kind of sketched me out a little bit. But I had some really, really good bets last night, and I had some really, really bad ones. We'll start with the bad ones. My worst bet of the night is Calvin Cater. And yeah, I mean, he's washed. What happened, man? What happened to Calvin Kattar? This dude, Calvin, 26 strikes in a 15-minute fight against Lau. It was like 38 significant strikes in a 15-minute fight. Like, what happened to the volume? This guy used to have a ton of volume, and he didn't even try. He didn't even start fighting until there was like 1 minute left in the third round. Just a bizarre performance from Kattar, bizarre game plan. He's fighting for his job. Like, he's lost 5 in a row now. So yeah, I think Kattar's probably done. And yeah, it sucks because, Steve Garcia fights, they're supposed to be fun. They're supposed to be exciting. They're supposed to finish. And Calvin Kattar, he took that away from us. So shame on you, Calvin Kattar. You are short running for get some help for sure. And I'm right there with you. That was the only leg in my parlay that didn't hit. I had a plus, it was like plus 630 parlay.
Oh.
And I had Klein inside the distance, check. Lewis Teixeira under 1.5, check. And then the other leg was Petrino Lane, fight won't start round 3, check. The only leg that didn't hit was Garcia Kattar, fight ends by knockout. Fight goes to decision. Only one guy tried for that to cash, and it was Steve Garcia. And he almost did finish Kattar, hurt him bad in the third round, but it's hard to finish somebody, Weezy, when your opponent doesn't want to be there. We see it so many times. If your opponent doesn't want to be there, it's going to decision more often than not. So yeah, that was probably the worst fight for me last night. The other bad bet I had was Gabriel Bonfim to win inside the distance at plus 100. This guy's finished like 16 of his 17 wins. Thought he would be able to get Thompson out of there, get him down to the ground. And he did early on, and he actually did get 5 takedowns. And in the first round, I thought that he might sub him there, but really wasn't that close. And then once he didn't get that sub in the first round, I knew it was probably not going to hit. Fight ends up going to decision. He ends up winning the fight, but didn't look anywhere near minus 400 or whatever he was. Actually scored the fight for Stephen Thompson. And then the other bad bet, it was a Kennedy round 2-3 props. Didn't really get to see that play out. Walker heel hooks him in the first round. So the bets that hit, and I don't even think this was a good bet, Weezy. I had the Klein Martinez fight doesn't go to decision, 1.5 units at plus 100. So it's one of those where it hit, but it took years off my life. Like if you would have told me Fatima Klein completed 0 takedowns, I would have hated that bet. I would have thought it went to decision, 8 times out of 10. But luckily, with about 2 minutes and 30 seconds left, Klein lands a nasty head kick and knocks out Melissa Martinez, saves my day pretty much. Klein gets the finish and cashes that fight. Doesn't go to decision at plus money. What else did I have? I had Jake Matthews to win inside the distance, 0.75 units at plus 425. And I'll be honest, I was going to pass on the fight. I was going to pass on the fight, but I said to myself, if Chidi misses weight, I have no choice but to bet on Jake Matthews. And Chidi, it was weird. He missed weight initially, but then they came out and said he made weight. I'm not sure if he missed or made it or what. But after seeing Chidi on the scale, I ended up pulling the trigger small on Jake Matthews, 0.75 units, because I didn't have a ton of confidence in Jake Matthews. If I knew that he would go out there and complete a takedown, I would have been a lot heavier on him. But Jake Matthews is just a guy that's hard to trust. But he went out there and did exactly what he needed to do. 1 takedown, got to the back, and the fight was over. We talked about it last week. I've been trying to fade Chidi for a while. It hasn't worked out, but I finally got one on him last night. So that was good to see. So that was my biggest hit of the night. What else did I have? I had, and then the under 1.5 in the main event. Just sometimes, Weezy, just got to keep it simple. Keep it simple. Under 1.5, 2 units, minus 200. I got reverse CLV'd bad on that, believe it or not. Wow. The under 1.5 closed at minus 160. And I don't
That's how you know it's going to hit.
Yeah, like I don't get who's betting an over 1.5 and a Taliesin Teixeira, Derek Lewis. It just makes no sense. But yeah, I mean, once I saw I got reverse CLV'd by a mile, knew that was coming through, and it came through in 35 seconds. So the under hits overall up about almost 1.5 units. I think like about 1.44, and I'm happy with that. I would have been happy to break even last night. Like I hated last week's card. This week's card is a different story. I have a lot of action for UFC 318 and a lot of spots sticking out. I can't wait to talk about it with you, Weezy. Last week we had the Stat Diggers parlay of the week. The first leg was the Chris Curtis, Max Griffin over 2.5 rounds came through. The second leg was the Chidi Njokuani money line. So the Stat Diggers parlay goes 1 for 2, does not hit. the piping of the week does hit. It is Vitor Petrino to pipe DeJuan Lane on site at UFC Nashville. Wouldn't really call it a piping, more of like a milking, but Petrino gets the job done, first round submission. And then the milking of the week, and to be fair, there weren't many like off the top of your head, were there many milkings last week? I don't think so. I don't think there were many milkings at all.
Petrino might have been it.
Yeah, like that might have been the milking. So there really
or Tokos or even Tokos.
Yeah, that's a great one. That's a great one too. But we went with the Stat Tickers milking the week. Eduardo Mara to milk Lucky. Lauren Murphy, old spoiled milk, nasty, not so lucky after all. And yeah, it was not a milking at all. She looked awful. Mora looked awful, man. I mean, for a -600 favorite, she won the fight, but she almost got finished in the third round. But hey, Mora gets the job done. Did she look -700? No, not at all. I mean, she looked like -150, maybe closer. Like it was a bad performance, but hey, got the win nonetheless. All right, so let's close the poll here. We've got 162 votes. So we had Cater, Inzachukwu, Tafa, and Jason Herzog. And you said you're going for Cater, right?
Yeah, and Cater, and definitely, in my opinion, Tafa's got to be number 2. If you're losing to Tokos, that's something where you're going to be taking a long look in the mirror. That is going to be a long flight back to Australia, my friend.
Okay, so I voted for Tafa, but okay. Cater would have been close second. I'm going to end the poll now. All right, so out of 175 votes, in fourth place, believe it or not, Kennedy Nzechukwu, 10% in terms of needing help. In third place, none other than Jason Herzog, 19%. In second place, Calvin Cater, 23%. And the guy that needs to get the most help is Junior Tafa at 46%. Get some help, Junior Tafa. Work on that ground game. That was bad. Oh, all right. Let's get to some comments and then we'll get into these fights, guys. What
happened?
Somebody, I don't know. Lane getting destroyed in round 1 was probably the easiest pick. Yeah. Guys, you just got to keep it simple.
Exactly.
Keep it simple. And that's CLV curse struck me again. Cheaty -110. Yeah, the CLV curse is real. It is real. 100%. Walker milked Kennedy. It was a quick milking, one of the quickest milkings you'll see. You don't see milkings that quick. Tafa got milked. Yeah. What chalk shits the bed next weekend? We'll talk about it. There's a lot of chalk. There's been a lot of chalk lately as well. I'm ordering a Tuco Tokos jersey. You enjoy that, man. you enjoy it. Tafa needs to go in bare knuckle boxing. He'd be decent there. He'd be decent.
Yeah, he would be good there.
We got Irina Alexeyeva's barber in the building. You have not come for the haircut. My friend and client Irina Alexeyeva is very disappointed. Get some help. Get help. Shout out to Irina Alexeyeva's barber there. Brady, you seem like you feel better, bro. I feel a lot better than last week, but I'm still not 100%. I need to get to 100%. All right. All right. I think we went through all the comments. I think it's time to get into some fights. Weezy, what do you say?
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's do it. And like the order's pretty messed up here. So I apologize for that. We're kind of going in a random order. That was the order on UFC stats a couple days ago. I didn't have time to switch it all up though.
Oh, they're going to switch it up multiple times. Yeah, I know. It doesn't matter. Okay. Yeah. But hey, I'm excited to start with Ryan Spann, Lucas Presky, like our guy Ryan Spann. Yes, it should be a fun one here. Ryan Spann, 33 years old, 6'5" with a 79-inch reach. Presky, 33 years old, 6'4" with a 78-inch reach. Same age there. Ryan Spann with a 1-inch height advantage. Ryan Spann with a 1-inch reach advantage. Ryan Spann is 1-4 in his last 5 fights. Submission loss to Nikita Krylov. Decision loss to Anthony Smith. Knockout loss to Bogdan Guskov. Submission win against OSP. Knockout loss to Waldo Cortez Acosta. As far as Lucas Presky, he's 1-4 in his last 5 fights. Jeez. Decision loss to Carl Williams. Knockout loss to Waldo Cortez Acosta. Decision win against Walter Walker. A knockout loss to Mick Parkin. and then a knockout loss to Kennedy Nzechukwu. So this is one where it's like, dude, Ryan Spann, I mean, come on, man. I mean, you should not be losing to Lucas Presky. But I'm worried about Spann. I'm worried about the motivation. Like, he came up to heavyweight, right?
Yeah.
And, for example, we saw Vitor Petrino, right? Light heavyweight. He came up to heavyweight. How did Vitor Petrino look at heavyweight?
He still had a six-pack. He
Yeah.
just looked wider, man. Like, he looked big. You know, he did not look like he put on 40. He didn't pull a fat Collier.
No, he put on muscle
Yes.
and a lot of it. Ryan Spann comes up to heavyweight, and how did he look? How did he look?
He looked like he was training with Fat Barnett.
Looked like he got off the couch. It looked like he was drunk in the fight against Waldo Cortez Acosta.
Yeah.
I don't know where the motivation of Spann is at. I don't know if this guy's even training. Like, this guy admitted to not even training in the past. He's went completely dark on social media. He hasn't posted anything. I wonder if Ryan Spann cares anymore. If Ryan Spann gives a shit, I think he destroys Lucas Presky. If Ryan Spann does not give a shit, this fight gets a lot more interesting. I think there's a chance I might lose some money on Ryan Spann this week, maybe with like a prop, because I really think he has all the tools to make it look easy, whether he's knocking out a very chinny Lucas. Like, how are you getting knocked out by Mick Parkin? How is that even mathematically possible to get knocked out by Mick Parkin? How does that happen? So I think Ryan Spann can knock him out. I think Ryan Spann can take him down and sub him. But the caveat here is he has 5 minutes to do it, because if he doesn't do it in 5 minutes, he's probably going to lose. So I might look at a Ryan Spann round one prop. Outside of that, it's a Ryan Spann fight. It's tough. It's disgusting. I think the smart move, Weezy, just waiting till weigh-ins. Did Ryan Spann train for this fight or not? If he trained, okay, we'll take a look at him. If he didn't train for it, maybe a shot on Presky. But yeah, borderline 1-800-GAMBLER fight to kick off the card here.
Yeah, man, it's a Ryan Spann fight. It's gonna be funny. Yeah, I mean, and I just I just look at this fight, and my thought is I'm gonna laugh so hard when Ryan Spann fucks this up. You know, I mean, today. Or we're going to talk about Marcin Prachnio, you know, and you remember the look on Khalil Roundtree's face when they were reading the Prachnio, you know, and he had that look on his face like, oh my God, I fucking just lost to this guy, you know, and there's a part of me, you know, that the really bad part of your Uncle Wheezy that wants to see that look on Ryan Spann's face, you know, that how did I fuck this one up? Because, you know, like, he lost to Waldo, and I mean, Waldo's good.
Yeah.
You know, we're not busting on Ryan Spann because he lost to Waldo Cortez Acosta. Waldo's a solid heavyweight. You know, he got knocked out by Bogdan Guskov after having a really dominant first round, and Guskov's got a ton of power, and he's getting better. He's young. You know, he lost twice to Anthony Smith. The last guy that Anthony Smith beat as a pro was Ryan Spann. But, you know, Smith is a veteran. Smith fought for the title. Smith had his 50 professional fights, you know. He got subbed by Nikita Krylov. So was half the fucking light heavyweight division. So, but if he fucks this one up, Brady, if he fucks this one up, it's over for him. You got to cut him, dude. You have to fucking cut him. If you lose 5 of your last 6 fights, and they give you 9 steps down the ladder of the heavyweight division, and they say, all right, we're giving you Lukas Dresky. This guy is 1-5 in the UFC. 1-5. So, but he has a win over Walter Walker. So you never know, dude. He could maybe, I mean, like, but how would he win this fight? Really? Seriously. Is he going to outbox Ryan Spann for 3 rounds? Probably not. Is he going to out-grapple him?
No.
Is he going to outwork him in the clinch, maybe? I mean, like, I guess how he wins this fight is maybe he doesn't get finished in the first, and then Spann just death gasses because he didn't train. And then Dresky wins rounds 2 and 3 on volume. Maybe that's how, because this dude can fight through being tired.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've seen him do that. We've seen him go the distance. How many times in the UFC? 3 different times in the UFC. This guy's went the full 15 minutes. You know, Spann Span's been there 3 times as well, and he's actually 2-1 in decisions. But I mean, we know that if you put any kind of a pace on this guy, he's going to get tired. So, yeah, this is going to be. And so Marcel says Span to miss weight -700. How funny would it be?
Oh my gosh, at
If
heavyweight.
he missed weight at heavyweight, that would be hilarious. But yeah, man, Ryan should get the job done here because Dresky is chinny and he can find a submission or a knockout early. But God help the Ryan Span bettors if this thing gets halfway through round 2 and he starts, breathing with his mouth open, looking for a way out. You never know, man.
Yeah, that's why I'm not laying the money line on Ryan Span. If I do bet him, which it's not the smartest thing at all, but if I do bet him, it's probably like a round 1, round 2 problem. Like that's how you play him, because if he gets out of the first round, he typically looks like ass. So that's kind of how I'll attack it if I attack it at all. But yeah, I agree. Ryan Span, there's no excuse for losing to Lucas Presky. Like it should not happen, but it is Ryan Span, so we'll see. Ryan Span opened up -285, currently -220. Lucas Presky opened up +245, currently +185. The over-under set at 1.5. The over 1.5 +120. The under 1.5 is -150. I think that's mostly correlated with the Ryan Span money line. Of course, I don't really think Presky's much of a finisher at the UFC level at all. So, yeah, I think there's a couple different ways to attack this fight, but it's a sketchy one. It's a Ryan Span one, but I'm looking forward to it. Span sub 1-2.
Yeah,
could be. Span legit looked like he wanted to retire in the middle of the Costa fight last time out, but will he lose to Presky? The guy is a complete can. Yeah, if he loses to Presky, it's just one of those, like, if he loses to Presky, he should be just ashamed of himself. Span KO 1-2, or just Span 1-2. Covers the sub, covers the KO. That's kind of how I might look at it, depending on the line. Presky's so level, should be able to steamroll him. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Unless he death gasses. Yeah, that's the worry. If he death gasses, or if he didn't train, because training, it's important.
Yeah,
it's important.
And like we shouldn't have to tell you this. We shouldn't, like, nobody should have to tell Ryan Span this, that it is important. You're a professional. You can't just show up, get off the couch, and think it's going to go well for you. I mean, like Costa made him look bad.
Yeah. This is an interesting one. So who wins a fight between Lucas Dresky and Dewan Lane?
Whew.
I don't know,
I think Lane, dude.
Yeah, because Presky probably doesn't have the power to hurt Lane. You wouldn't think, but
and Lane could potentially get a takedown or two.
Yeah,
he's way more athletic.
Give me Lane.
Could Dresky land a big shot? Because Lane's chin, the guy's chin is just shot.
Yeah,
so you never know.
What a disgusting fight. That's a disgusting fight there. But I think I'd take
versus Jobber.
Oh my gosh. My money's staying far away from this. Smart man. Span weighing in at he only weighed 249 his last fight. Why is he gonna weigh 276? I don't know. I wish he was posting some updates on Instagram. Haven't seen nothing from Span. I don't know what he's been up to.
The first update we're going to see from Span is him asking for a 276-pound catch weight.
The first one in UFC history. Oh, my goodness. We got Dravi. I know Dravi had a good night last night.
Stop winning so much money, Dravi. You're making the rest of us look bad, dude.
Got to save some for the rest of us.
Like 80 units this year just on the UFC. It's crazy.
Oh, my goodness. He says
he's killing it.
I think he was on Matthews. He was on Thompson, too, which I thought that was a great bet. Thompson. Yeah. Well, I forget who else is on. But yeah, shout out to Dravi, man. Appreciate you, Dravi. Shout out to Lewis call. Yeah, Lewis was a great call. Absolutely. Not touching it. Smart. We got Zach Palga in the building. What is up, Zach Palga?
Yeah. Guskov hits hard, man. I mean, Zach knows. Ryan knows. So we haven't seen him, though, in a minute.
Fan of the show, Zach Palga. Love to see it. We got Roma DeLidze watching. I know Eileen Perez is a big fan of the show.
Is she?
Yeah, she followed me on Instagram and everything. She's a big fan of the show.
That's awesome.
She can't understand it, but unless she can like translate it to Portuguese.
No, she doesn't speak Portuguese.
Oh, what did she speak?
She speaks Spanish.
Spanish.
She's from Argentina.
Oh,
so she's not. She doesn't speak Portuguese. She speaks Spanish. And
then there should be no problem to translate it. There's plenty of opportunities to do that. So yeah, definitely fan of the show. Can you tell Uncle Weezy that he's like the dude from the Big Lebowski?
Yeah, that's a pretty big compliment. That's one of my favorite movies, and yeah, the dude. It was. Have you seen that movie?
No, I don't think.
Yeah, you were very young when that one came out, but it's a classic, and it's the dude is a character, the main character in the movie The Big Lebowski. And when my hair is down, I look a lot like that dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh yeah, we're both taking. I mean, you got to take Spain. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
think he's
taking.
gonna win.
I'm not taking Presky. I don't care. I can't do it. All right, let's move on to the next fight. We have. Dang, this is out of order. Holy crap!
I know, because it was one of the last fights added, so it was weird. It got put way down there. So, like I said, we're gonna be jumping around today, folks.
It's all right. I don't mind. This is on the main card, I think. But we got Kevin Holland going against Daniel Rodriguez. We got Kevin Holland, 32 years old, 6'3", with an 81-inch reach. Daniel Rodriguez, 38 years old, 6'1", with a 74-inch reach. Holland 6 years younger, 2-inch height advantage, and a 7-inch reach advantage. Kevin Holland is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Submission win against Mikhail Olazechuk. Knockout loss to Roma Delidze. Submission loss to Rene de Ritter. Decision win against Gunnar Nelson, and then a submission win against Vicente Luque. As far as D-Rod, he is 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Submission loss to Neil Magny. Knockout loss to Ian Gary. Decision loss to Kelvin Gastelum. Decision win against Alex Morono, and then a knockout win against Santiago Ponzinibbio. So I don't have any money on this fight yet. Everybody's parlaying Kevin Holland, and I wish I would have. I saw him at minus 340 last week, a couple days ago, and I was looking to parlay something. I just couldn't find anything. I was thinking about maybe like a Zellhuber Holland or something. So it didn't end up parlaying Holland, and now he's like minus 500. So all the parlay money's coming in. The parlay boys are in full effect, and I don't blame him one bit. I mean, this is a fight that Holland really should not lose. We went from Ryan's fan to Kevin Holland, 2 very trustworthy fighters. But yeah, I think to beat Kevin Holland, Weezy, you need to do one of 2 things: be a big giant middleweight, or be a pretty good wrestler. And D-Rod does not really fit that build at all. I mean, D-Rod's going to strike with him, and if D-Rod does try to grapple, he's probably getting subbed. D-Rod, I've always been a big fan of D-Rod. I like the guy. He's been in how many fights at this point? 24?
24 professional fights, 13 UFC fights.
And he has over 100 fights in prison, right?
According to him, he does.
Yeah, so he has like over 100 fights between prison and in the UFC cage. But I think all that's starting to catch up to him a little bit. I mean, if you're fighting 100 times, and like that's a lot of fights. And he won all of them, but still, he's probably taken some damage here and there in those prison fights. But yeah, I've thought that D-Rod has been washed for a very long time. I thought ever since the Leach fight, I thought he looked a little bit off, and that was almost 4 years ago, right? Against Magny, he completely gassed out and got broken and subbed, got knocked out by Gary. I thought he looked really washed against Kelvin. I thought he looked awful against Alex Morono, barely beat Alex Morono. And then he was looking good against Ponzinibbio at moments and did knock him out. But I think Ponzinibbio is just a little bit more washed than D-Rod that night. So, yeah, this should be Kevin Holland pretty much all day. I'm not sure how I'm going to play it. At this point, at minus 500, I'm not – there's nothing you can do with that. But I am very confident Holland should win. I just don't really see a path for D-Rod. He's not going to be able to take down Holland, and that's typically how Holland loses. The only persons that have been able to outstrike Holland really was Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. So, yeah, Holland for me, I think he can win by knockout. I think he can win by submission. I think he could win by dominant decision. I think there's a lot of ways for Kevin Holland to get it done. But in terms of making money on it, I'm not quite sure because the money line's been getting destroyed the last 48 hours.
Yeah, it's rough because this is something I wanted to bring up at the beginning of the show, but I forgot to. It's that time of year. The Stat Diggers crew, Brady and I, we have to give you the public service announcement that when July comes around, between July and early September, our nice little country club with our nice little pool, we've got our waiters and waitresses who treat us really well. The music is lovely. We treat each other with respect, but all the kids get out of school, And then these punk ass kids come to our fucking pool and they start playing loud music. They start splashing around in there. You know, they're calling to the waiters and waitresses like they own them, you know, not treating them with respect. And then all of a sudden, Eduardo Mora is a -600 favorite.
Oh,
You know, all of a sudden, Fatima Klein's a -1400 favorite.
oh,
Mike Davis closes as a -1200 favorite against Mitch Ramirez. You know, Petrino -800. These pricks are in our pool, Brady, and they do it every goddamn year, every July, every August. They're over here fucking up our pool and ruining our betting lines, and these parlay boys are killing us, and it's happening over and over and over again, and we have to be very, very cognizant of that. And yeah, this is what's going to happen. Kevin Holland, I mean, it's going to be difficult for him to find a way to fuck this one up, but he's -425, and he's fucked up as a favorite too many times to be like, yeah, I'm just going to throw 5 units on him, you know, to win 1.2. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a huge risk to take. So I want these goddamn parlay boys. I want them out of our goddamn pool, Brady. I want to start relaxing and floating with a Mai Tai and listening to some nice, relaxing music, you know? So that's just what the public service announcement that we have to do every year at this time of year. And yeah, I like Kevin Holland. He should dick saw this dude.
Yep. Agree. Yeah, some of the lines this way. I mean, some of these lines are getting it's Sunday and they're already getting pounded and hammered like
Derek Lewis's wife right now.
Oh.
These lines are getting pounded, Brady.
Yes. And this is one of them. So yeah, we'll see where the props open, but I can bet you they're not going to be that great. But yeah, Holland should absolutely destroy. I'm very confident in Holland, but don't have any action on it yet. Holland sub. Yeah, he's not gonna proactively grapple, but if he hurts D-Rod and D-Rod shoots in, yeah, you could sub him absolutely. That's definitely on the table. -500 in this economy. Yeah, it's bad, man.
Yeah.
D-Rod is washed like Cater. I don't know if he's washed as bad as Cater, but I do think he's definitely washed. Kevin's gonna pick him apart. Agreed. And D-Rod undefeated in the cell. Yeah, and that's impressive. There's some tough guys in prison,
especially in LA.
Yeah, absolutely. Props to Kevin's manager for these favorable. Yeah, absolutely. Props to Kevin's manager. He's finally figuring it out, right? Let's not go up and fight big, giant Roman Dolidze. Let's not fight René de Ritter, who was a light heavyweight. Let's not fight Marvin Vettori. Let's fight D-Rod. Let's fight a 40-year-old D-Rod. Jeez, yeah, shout out to him. Holland first round sub. Yeah, I can see a sub. I can see a knockout. I can see it for sure. Yeah. Don't like it.
Had enough of it.
Let's see here. He's zesty. Why are you calling him zesty? Oh, jeez.
Because Mike Davis at -1200 is zesty. I mean, if anything, it's zesty.
I mean, nothing's wrong with a good parlay.
I lost 2 units on parlays.
When we're talking about parlay boys, we're talking about the people that don't watch UFC every week. They just come in, they look at the board, and they're like, "Oh, let's parlay up Eduardo Mora, Fatima Klein, Vitor Petrino, Bonfim."
Yeah,
6-leg parlay -150, like that. Those are the parlay boys. Yeah, these lines are getting piped on site. They're definitely getting piped on site, and this is one of them. We got Vincent with the $4.99. Appreciate you, Vincent. He says, had tickets to UFC Nashville, and the atmosphere was insane. Won $400. What was y'all's opinion on the Lewis stoppage? Well, I'm extremely biased because I had the under 1.5, so I was rooting my ass off for a finish. So I don't want to give an opinion on it. And on top of that, it was Herzog involved, so just add more bias. I don't know. I just thought it was weird. I thought it was a weird situation. Lewis gets on top, lands some ground and pound. I didn't really hear a move fighter and then all of a sudden Taliesin Teixeira takes two hands and climbs up the cage. Just a very weird situation, but I'm happy I cashed my under is all I really care about, to be honest. But any thoughts on the stoppage, Wheezy?
Yeah, if I had Taliesin, I'd have been pissed off at the stoppage.
Yeah.
But my thought was when I was watching it live was you can't use two hands to claw up the cage. You either have to stop the fight and take a point there, or but you can't stop the fight there because Derek's is basically knocking him out. So I feel like that fight wouldn't have gotten stopped if Taliesin would have stood up without using the cage and using both hands on the cage. I felt like that foul that he caused there made Jason Herzog step in quicker than he would have normally, in my opinion. I think it was the cage grab that made him step in and stop the fight. Not that I'm saying that's okay or anything like that.
Yeah.
And if I had I think you feel the same way. If you would have had Taliesin, you'd have been like, man, I don't like that stoppage. He was clearly getting hit, but obviously he was turning around. He was with it. He was defending himself. So I think it was the cage grab that caused the stoppage.
That's a great point. If I was on Taliesin, I would have been pissed, and if I was on Lewis, I'd have been like, heck yeah, But
yeah.
It's weird. Have we seen a situation like that before?
Yeah, like I don't remember somebody, like I've seen people, obviously use the cage to get back up, but usually not when they're like almost getting knocked out.
Yeah. I don't know if off the top of my head, I don't know if we've seen something like that before. I know they've stopped a fight and took a point, but not when somebody's like half almost knocked out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. That sort I think they really put Herzog in a weird spot there because of that. That was a blatant fence grab, and he did it with both hands, and he's trying to he's using the fence to try to get back to his feet when Lewis is swarming him and just knocked him down with the left hook. So yeah, I think I think both sides have pretty good arguments in my opinion.
Agreed. It's one of those, and there are a lot of arguments out there. The Zesty boy, he's okay. Had a Ramirez moneyline sprinkle and was smug AF midway through the second round when the live odds showed almost. I saw that at one point in the fight, the odds were very close. And then Mike Davis kind of started to settle in a little bit and finished him late round two. But yeah, it was Ramirez moneyline was looking pretty good, especially at like plus 800, plus 700.
It was for a minute. Yeah. I mean, he landed some nice shots on Mike, but Mike got the job done, man. He's a special athlete.
Absolutely. We got our guy, Dr. Peener, who is a ICU urologist with the $4.99. Appreciate you, Dr. Peener, our guy. He says just put $5K at -150 for disrespectful pool youth this summer at T.O. Weezy's Lovely Country Club. Also parlayed Weezy at over 7 margaritas by 3:30 p.m. That is crazy. 7?
I need my 8th margarita. Like poolside. I could see it, just sunburnt to shit,
Dude, so shout out to Dr. Peener. Always good to have a doctor in the chat if we need medical advice during a fight. It's all good. Appreciate you, Dr. Peener. Appreciate you, Mike Rocock. Is that one of those things, Mike Rocock? Oh my God, it is! Dang it, Mike Rocock. He got me. You got me, Mike. Mike got me, man. He says, could you please reach out to Dr. Peener? I'm looking for a referral. What is that?
A phalloplasty.
What is that? I've never heard that in my life.
So Mr. Microcock, I think, needs more cock. And when you need more cock, you get a phalloplasty. It's like a tape job for your cock, like I guess. So and we're better to come than the Stat Diggers chat because we got an ICU urologist here and really one of the best in the entire country in Dr. Peener. So, I mean, it's fantastic. We're helping people here, Brady. This is what we do. It's not just MMA. It's not just entertainment. We are helping people like Cedricus Dumas.
Yes.
Like Magomedov, over there in the UAE. It's with his humanitarian work. This is what we do.
Yeah, it's that's what we do, man. Appreciate you, Mike. Why do I have a funny feeling that Mike and Dr. Peener are the same person behind two different accounts? Just have a weird vibe. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm way off. I don't know though. Oh, let's see. What else we got up in here? I think Wonder Boy won the fight. Yeah, I scored her for Wonder Boy as well. Oh gosh. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the next fight. And it is going to be a close to the line fights, which we don't have a ton of those nowadays, Wheezy. So it's gonna be fun to talk about this one. It is Francisco Prado going against Nikolai Veretennikov. We got Prado, 23 years old, 5'10", with a 71-inch reach. Nikolai Veretennikov, 35 years old, 6'1", with a 74-inch reach. We have Prado, 12 years younger. It's going to be Veretennikov with a 3-inch height advantage and a 3-inch reach advantage. Prado is 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Made his debut against Jamie Malarkey. Lost that fight by decision. Knocked out Otman Azaitar. Lost to Daniel Zellhuber by decision. And then Jake Matthews by decision. As far as Nikolai Veretennikov, he is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He lost a decision to Danny Barlow. And then he lost to Austin Vanderford in his debut. Or the Barlow fight was his debut. The second fight in his career was Austin Vanderford in the UFC. He was on the Contender Series against Michael Morales a couple years back. And I dug really deep into this fight because I'm very interested in it. And I watched every Veretennikov fight I could. And I was very impressed with Veretennikov outside of the Vanderford fight. Everything else I saw, I was just very impressed. He's a very technical striker. He's big, he's long, he's rangy. He has a lot of power. He can finish you on the feet, and actually saw him mixing a lot of takedowns like earlier in his career, able to take guys down, hold them down. The cardio looks good. I was very impressed with Veretennikov, but I was not impressed with his last fight against Vanderford. Looked awful, looked terrible, got taken down, got beaten for about 9 minutes, and then TKO'd in the second round. But I'm not really sure he's going to have to worry about that here against Francisco Prado, who has a 9% takedown accuracy. And I don't get Prado. Like, he is young. I do think he has some room for improvements for sure. But why is he fighting at welterweight? I don't get it, because this guy doesn't even seem big for lightweight. But he came up to welterweight. Looks smaller against Jake Matthews. He's going to be very undersized in this matchup. I kind of think it's a dog or pass for sure on this one. If this fight takes place standing, like, Veretennikov had a competitive strike with Michael Morales. Veretennikov gave Michael Morales his toughest fight by far. Veretennikov arguably beat Danny Barlow. Like, that was a very close fight. And now he's an underdog against Francisco Prado, who's a lightweight who can't really wrestle. He is getting up there in age, 35 years old, but I think Veretennikov's very, very live here. What are your thoughts on this one, Weezy?
Yeah, it's weird because I don't know what to think of Prado, because I've been completely underwhelmed with all of his losses in the UFC. I just don't. This guy just doesn't do anything, And when you watch the pre-UFC stuff, he's the Samurai Fight House champion, and he's knocking dudes out in like record time. I mean, he's just running through people, and he's showing a ton of power. But it was pretty clear that he was fighting a really low level of competition, and then he got the short notice opportunity in Australia against Jamie Malarkey. He takes the fight on fight week, like a week out, So it's a horrible set of circumstances to make your debut under, and he looks awful. He just looks awful. Oh. And then they were like, well, thank you for taking a, fight on 1 week's notice in Australia. So here's the biggest bum in the division. We're giving you Otman Azaitar. Go out there and knock this clown out, and you did that. But then it's, 2 more performances where you're just like, the fuck is this guy waiting for? He's 23 years old. I know he's young. He's really not ready to be here yet. This is like, it was too much too soon, and now you're giving him Zellhuber and Matthews. These guys are levels above him. And they're way bigger than him. They're way more experienced than him. So if Prado isn't going to be that Samurai Fight House version of himself, he's useless at this level. He's never going to win minutes with his wrestling. He's never going to win minutes fucking swinging at fresh air and only doing it like once every 15 seconds because he's not throwing enough volume either. So I don't know where everything is from Prado, but I mean, making him a favorite over a guy with a pulse, I think is very interesting. Because I think that Prado has shown jack shit yet. I mean, have you seen anything in the Malarkey, Zellhuber, or Matthews fight where you were like, okay, there's something here? Did you see anything there?
Just toughness, and that's not enough.
Yeah, not enough to win. You know, it's a good thing to have. And when you're 23 years old and you're still adding to your skill set, that's a good base. But he's got to add something to his skill set. Either he's got to start pressuring forward relentlessly and throwing a lot more volume, or he's got to learn how to wrestle, because his takedown accuracy is 9% and his takedown defense is 25%.
Oh,
so I mean, this kid's got a long way to go, man. And Veretennikov is somebody who does seem to have legit UFC striking right now. But he's 35 years old. So with Prado, you're getting a guy that's 12 and a half years younger. So, I mean, that's got to be worth something. You know, we know that age is something that's a statistically significant indicator of potential wins. And Francisco Prado's a lot younger here, but frankly, you know, they don't give you points for that in the octagon. And once they close that octagon door, he's going to have to do something besides being younger and looking more like Drew Dober in order to get this job done here. And I like Veretennikov too at this point, but I got to look into it more.
Yeah, I haven't bet anything yet on it, but I'm kind of leaning that way. Like, Vanderford TKO'd him. Like, Barlow couldn't knock Veretennikov out. Michael Morales couldn't knock him out. I'm not sure Prado, who couldn't knock out Jamie Malarkey, is going to knock him out. So, yeah, I lean that way, but no action for me yet. Prado should win here, or he needs to go. Well, he's only 23. Like, I could see him potentially getting cut, going out there, getting some more wins, and coming back in a couple of years. I can certainly see that.
Yeah.
I thought Nikolai looked good against Barlow, very competitive in that fight. That Nikolai with Dick Saw Prado, yeah, I thought the same. I thought he looked great in the that fight. I thought he looked really good in the striking against Morales. He actually turned Morales into a wrestler in that fight, made Morales wrestle a little bit. That's kind of how Morales got the job done in the Contender Series fight. But yeah, the striking is very high level. It's just the ground game of Veretennikov that's kind of very bad. Prado is cheeks. He buns. He's 23. That's wild. Yeah, very, very young.
Yeah, very young.
But he got T-Rex arms. Yeah, T-Rex arms and low volume. It's not a great combination. Off topic, but Brady, what did you think about that SD training video with the ankle monitor on? Somebody sent that to me on Instagram. It was SD training with an ankle monitor on.
Dude, I think I heard Florida's trying to like alter his sentence to make him fight Anthony Hernandez at 185 in the UFC. They'll be like, that's punishment enough for these 14 felonies that he has on the books in Florida.
Oh yeah, I'm watching it right now.
You're kidding? He's really training with the monitor.
I'm gonna have to pull this up. Pull this up real quick because it's important. Like this is important stuff. Let's see.
I could see his coach being like, "You can't throw kicks with the monitor leg."
All right. Here we go. Okay. Here we go. Do you see it? He's got the ankle monitor on. Let me take this off. He's got the ankle monitor on left ankle. There's no way.
I know.
He's
got to learn how to check kicks with that thing.
That's hilarious. He posted that. He said, "I'm back, working hard. I don't care about anything but focus. So say what you want and feed what you want. Hashtag MMA, hashtag me versus me."
Okay. I can't wait to see Cedricus Dumas versus Cedricus Dumas at UFC 319 in Chicago, just in time for when they get that ankle monitor off. He'll be coming to Chi-Town because that's where he's from originally, I think.
Oh,
I think like he's from he lives in Tallahassee, I think it is, but I think he was originally, or he lived sometime in Chicago. So, man, maybe we can get him on that UFC 319 card, Brady. How awesome would that be?
I mean, I hope I don't run into him. He probably wants to pipe me on site at this point. After all my posts, he probably hates me.
I don't know, man. If he's on that card, he'll have other shit to worry about.
Wait, actually, I'm safe. I'm not a woman, so he won't hit me.
Yeah, as long as you're tougher than Atman Azaitar, you probably could hang with him.
Oh my goodness, that is funny. That is funny. We got is it Daz or Dawes? Dawes. Can't watch live this week. Just drop by, hit the like button. Appreciate you, and ask why you guys we were actually on time. No joke, we were actually on time today.
Totally on time.
That is dedication. We got to give it to SD Dumas. And you can't. That's why he had to pull out against McVey. Imagine the amount of money we'd have made on McVey that week.
Oh God, that would have been great.
Training in a dog cage.
And now McVey's got to fight Bruno Ferreira.
Talk
about
God.
Bad luck.
Oh my goodness, the whole cow. What are the odds Dumas versus Dumas fight to go to a draw?
Oh, and by the way, I think we might have to make draw bets on Ryan Spann versus Lucas Presky.
Yeah, why not?
Because I don't know if either one's good enough to win it. And we always said that's the best way to bet a draw is when both guys stink, and you could see a 10-8 from Spann in the first, and then he just gasses out and gets jabbed up in the second and the third. We're cashing a 66-1.
Let's cash it.
Plus
8,000 if you have a 365 plus 8,000 the draws.
Oh my God. Yeah, that would be huge.
I'm good. I don't want to pick with him. Also, I'm guessing it's Cater that needs help this week. Who was it? Was it Tafa? I think it was
Tafa. Tafa did get first. I think Cater was second.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get this out of here. That was hilarious. Though I couldn't believe my
moves.
eyes.
You could tell he went back to the drum board. Says Brandon.
He's looking good. He
is.
All right. What the heck? Okay, let's move on to the next fight. And I think this fight is actually kicking off the card. It's Carly Judice going against Nicole Caliari. We got Judice, who's 26 years old, 5'7" with a 68-inch reach. Caliari, 28 years old, 5'3" with a 62-inch reach. Judice, 2 years younger, 4-inch height advantage, and a 6-inch reach advantage. Judice is 3-2 in her last 5 fights. She had a decision loss on the Contender Series against Ernesta Carrascate, lost her debut against Gabriela Fernandez by decision, and then knocked out poor Eunice Duben in the first round in her last fight. As far as Caliari, she is 4-1 in her last 5 fights, got a first round sub on the Contender Series, and then lost to Ernesta Carrascate by decision in her debut. So yeah, another inflated line here, like most fights on this card. I think we have Judice around the minus 300 range here. And yeah, I'm picking her to win here. I think that she should be able to stuff the takedowns. Caliari, I believe she's a black belt. Don't know if she has the best wrestling, though. And then on the feet, I do like the striking of Judice. She went to a very competitive decision with Gabriela Fernandez. That fight was very close. She went to a very competitive decision with Ernesta Carrascate. That fight was very close. I like the striking. I like the aggressiveness. I like the power. I think Judice probably gets it done. Not sure I have any action on this fight. One thing that's interesting is both these ladies do have 100% finish rates, but I kind of have a funny feeling that this fight might go the distance because I feel like Judice is next level durable, and Caliari looks to be pretty durable herself. So I'm kind of leaning Judice by decision, but nothing really sticking out from a betting perspective for me, especially around minus 300. But yeah, I think she should win.
Yeah, I mean, like laying almost minus 300 on an MMA fighter and Judice, who only has 6 fights and 40 minutes of pro experience. I mean, it's a risky proposition, but she's the real deal, man. I mean, like she came in on short notice, fought Carrascate and gave. I mean, like nobody even knows who won that fight. Those girls just threw down for 3 rounds. They hit each other like 200 times apiece, and the judges had to pick one. It was a rough one, but the Fernandez performance was an eye opener as well. I mean, like Carly's ready to be here. She's an athlete. She's been playing sports her whole life. She was late to MMA though. She's been a pro for less than 3 years. Can you believe that, Brady? 2 years, 8 months. I mean, like 6 fights She's 4-2, and those 2 fights, she could be 6-0. You know, she does seem to be the real deal. But you know what? Caliari was a big underdog against Karaskacha. I bet on Caliari there. It was a good bet. Didn't cash, but it was a close fight. So Caliari has proven that she can kind of hang with strikers that throw a lot of volume, like Carly. So yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting fight. I think maybe it plays out a little bit closer than what the line suggests right now, but I think Carly's definitely got more tools. I love the volume that she's throwing out there in the cage. She's always working, and the judges are going to love that. 26.1 distance strike attempts per minute. And that's over a 13-minute sample size for Carly. So she lands a ton. She's very accurate. Like you said, she's very durable. And then she's going to be 4 inches taller, have a 6-inch reach advantage, and she's a southpaw. So, yeah, I think Carly gets it done here. I think, and like you said, I think it's probably Carly by decision, but she's got power and she's got finishing ability. And when you put that kind of volume on somebody, you could break them late in fights. So, yeah, I think I like Carly here.
You had a massive bet on the under in the Dubin Judice fight. That was a great bet. I think it was close to even money. And then, Judice was only minus 275 against Vinicius Dubin, which is kind of crazy.
I know. So the fact that she's, even more expensive against Caliari shows that there's some short-term recency bias on the Judice side that's pushing that line maybe a little bit further than where it should be. Or what I also think is potentially going on there is that she wasn't a big enough favorite against Dubin, we knew that was probably not going to be a good night for her in that one.
Yeah, I literally thought she should have been minus 1,000 against Dubin personally.
Yeah.
Judice minus 280, Caliari plus 240, over under set at 2.5. The over 2.5 minus 245. The under 2.5 is plus 195. This is one that I probably stay away from, but I'm with you. I think Judice is absolutely the real deal. She's still young. She's still getting better. Her striking's very fun, exciting style to watch. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Judice, but yeah, minus 300, maybe a parlay piece potentially, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Judice ceiling very high. Agreed.
Yeah.
Hey, the crispy. I had some calamari last week. Actually, it was really good.
Nice.
Love me some calamari. Absolutely. Yeah. Crispy. Is that her nickname?
Crispy Carly Judice. Yes, it is.
What is Caliari's
nickname?
What is Caliari's nickname?
I don't know, actually. Let's have a look. Because I don't remember her having one. Let's see. Caliari. No nickname listed.
Yikes. We can give her a nickname.
Yeah. I think the Stat Diggers audience should try to give her a nickname.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get one. Big Steve saying Crispy lights her ass up. I agree, but Big Steve, does she finish her ass? Is the question. Does Judice? Because Judice still has 100% finish rate for Judice. Does that stay intact, Big Steve? Because if it does, I mean, Judice by knockout could be a big number. Just where the under's at right now. We have K Deep Montana with the 49.99. Appreciate you, K Deep. He says, I had a massive past 2 weeks and much love and appreciation to Brady and Uncle Weezy for everything you do for the MMA community. Your dedication, insight, and generosity without ever charging a dime doesn't go unnoticed. Thank you. Thank you so much, K Deep Montana, for the kind words, for the dono. You're the man.
He's the man. That's my guy. That's my guy, the Godfather there. And he's very, very generous with his words and with his attention too. So much love to our guy, Kadeep.
Class act. Much love, KD. Appreciate you. All right. Let us get in. Oh, we got some nickname suggestions.
Okay.
Little Nicky.
Little Nicky Caliari.
Little Nicky. Okay. Crappy.
I don't think she's gonna like that one.
That's all we got. So Little Nicky and Crappy. I guess Little Nicky. I guess these are kind of ass, guys. Come on.
But then Remdog said Varby, like Barbie, but she's on Anavar.
I don't know.
Barbie. She does kind of look like a Barbie, though.
Nipple Nerp. Come on, guys. Come on. Let's just no nickname. She's gonna go without a nickname. Oh, the Italian. Is she Italian?
Well, with a name like Caliari, that's an Italian name.
It does sound Italian, but I don't think she is she? She's Brazilian.
Well, she's Brazilian, but something about South America that you might not know is there are a lot of Europeans that went to South America for some reason right around the mid-40s. And yeah, like guys like, for instance, Adolf Hitler, a lot of them went to South America, and you will see a lot of Argentinians that have Italian descent, Germans in this part of the world. The ones that lost the war, a lot of them went to South America, and they settled in Brazil and Argentina, and some in Paraguay, and some in some other places.
Nice. Not only do we get to talk about fights, we get to talk about other stuff too. Like I like it.
Stat Diggers never stop surprising people, Brady. We were on time today, but that's never a surprise.
Never a surprise. I like this one. Cough syrup Caliari. I kind of like that one.
It's not bad.
If Crispy doesn't, I will. What is that supposed to mean, Big Steve? That's
our guy, Big Steve. Shout out.
Heck yeah. I don't know. I don't know about that. I love this one. Chlamydia Caliari.
You stop getting fights. Like I'm not fighting Chlamydia Caliari.
Didn't some chick fight with chlamydia before? Oh, it was staph on her ass. My bad. Staph on the ass.
Oh yeah, that was Dulattov.
Yeah, she did it twice. She had staph on her ass. Two fights in a row.
So bad, yeah.
Crunchy, okay. Crunchy Caliari. I don't mind it.
Yeah. Call girl Caliari.
Call girl, I like it. Yeah, you'd be pretty good on Jeopardy, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I know some weird shit, but like some of those nerds on Jeopardy would probably just smoke me in so many categories,
Yeah, well, I'm sure they study for it a lot.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll go with Chlamydia Caliari. It's probably the best one.
Let's go with it.
I like it. All right, let's move on to the next fight. This is probably my favorite fight on the prelims. We have the debut of Islam Dulattov going against Adam Fugat. We got Islam, 26 years old, 6'3", with a 75-inch reach. Fugat, 36 years old, 6'1", with a 77-inch reach. Islam, 10 years younger, 2-inch height advantage, and a 2-inch reach disadvantage. Adam Fugat, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Had a knockout loss in his debut against Michael Morales. He knocked out Kinoshita in the first round, lost by second-round submission to Mike Malott, and then won a decision against Josh Quinlan last fight. As far as Islam is 5-0 in his last 5 fights. He went on the Contender Series and got a first-round knockout. And watching tape on this guy was incredible. I really enjoyed myself watching Islam here. He is really good. I was so impressed with Islam. So he made his debut, I think 5-6 years ago, and he lost that fight, went the distance, got taken down, out-grappled. But every fight since then, you can just see improvement after improvement. And this guy fights like his hair's on fire. He fights with a very hectic pace. He's looking to kill you in there. And he has a ton of power. He has a very opportunistic submission game. All of his wins come in the very first round. I was very impressed with Islam Dulattov, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he does in the UFC. Just the way he's going out there and finishing some of these guys. It kind of reminds me of like Khalil Roundtree, like some of the finishes Roundtree has where it just looks like, the guys owed him money. Like when Carl Roberson looked like he owed him money. Anthony Smith, just the way Dulattov is finishing some of these guys. He's mean. He's a very mean guy in there, and I love it. So I think this is going to be an absolute car crash. I think someone's getting served, and I think that someone is Adam Fugat. He signed the contract. He took the fight, and I think it was a big mistake. Dulattov, one of the biggest favorites on the card, though, which is always kind of scary because he is making his debut. But from what I've seen, he looks to be the real deal. And I don't think a lot of people are going to be accepting fights against this guy. Minus 560, which makes him the second biggest favorite on the card, Wheezy, but I think it's probably warranted. What I will say, if this fight does reach, the second round and a half, it could start to get interesting. But with the way this guy fights, I don't think it's getting that far. Wheezy, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, so it's just we do need to know that Dulattov did have to pull out of a fight against Fugat back in February. So that's the reason that we're on a 9+ month layoff here for Islam Dulattov coming into this fight. So I think that's something we got to kind of keep our eye on, is that this guy, like, he even took a boxing fight in 2023, which is kind of weird, but obviously his fights don't last long. He's got 11 fights, and the average fight time over an 11 fight sample size is 3.3 minutes. So there are going to be some unanswered questions. What does Dulattov look like in round 2? Does he have 3 rounds of cardio? Is there a potential for an adrenaline dump after round 1 if Fugat is able to make it through round 1? But yeah, I mean, like, it's hard to picture Dulattov losing, because you can watch this guy's entire career in 36 minutes, and all you're going to see him doing is just destroying dudes, dismantling these dudes. Poor Yanis Palaiologos, the fighting pride of the proud nation of Greece. I mean, he just ran through him. Poor Will Chope made him look like Will Chode. You got Patrick Spurk, he got sparked. I mean, like, Dulattov's running through these guys. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this dude fight on Saturday. And Fugat's a good test. He's not the most experienced guy, but he's been in there against some tough opponents. Good regional scene opponents. Michael Morales, Mike Mallet. These are tough names. These are tough opponents to get at the UFC level. And when he's not getting those names, he's finding wins against Kinoshita and Quinlan. So it's a good test for Dulattov. I'm interested to see how this one plays out. But I don't think I'm going to be getting involved in this one betting wise. And what's the under at, Brady?
Yeah, the under is currently sitting at plus or minus 170. It was plus 130 this morning at 750, which that
would have been a nice. Yeah, I would have loved to get plus money on a guy whose average fight time is 3.3 minutes and who's never been out of the first round. And Fugat has been finished in 3 of his 4 professional losses and in both of his UFC losses. So, yeah, I mean, like, this is probably Dulattov round 1, Dulattov under 1.5, that kind of stuff. But if this thing goes long, if it gets into round 2, I think Fugat might be live. We'll see. It's going to be an interesting one.
Yep, for sure. I think the best play is the under 1.5 because I think that is covering Dulattov's path, and then Fugat has some early, like, Fugat finished Kinoshita round 1, so yeah, I like the under more than the minus 560 money line, and it should be a fun fight. This guy is just it's insane. Let's see here. Fugat, a sacrifice to the prospect. Yeah, the UFC must hate Fugat, man. I mean, gave him Michael Morales. I know they wanted to build up Kinoshita. That didn't work out. Mike Malott, somebody they really wanted to build out. Yeah, they're not a big fan of Fugat. Dulattov to pipe Fugat on site. Yeah, could be an early candidate for piping of the week. I think there's going to be a lot of pipings this week, but this could be a potential early candidate.
Yeah.
We got Blaze Hayes every days with the $2 dono. Says, don't piss on Unk. Dude's his rug dude.
Dude's his rug dude.
What does that mean?
I'm not sure.
Elaborate, Blaze. We'll pull it back up. Elaborate.
Maybe he's talking about when he's using dude. He's using dude in the like the dude from the Big Lebowski. Oh, that's why. All right. So the first scene in the Big Lebowski, there's a guy named Jeffrey Lebowski who's known as the dude. Dudes break down his door and piss on his rug, and that rug, it holds the whole room together, right? So the dude is furious, and it turns out that these dudes that pissed on his rug, it was a case of mistaken identity, and what they were supposed to do was collect money from another guy named Jeffrey Lebowski, who's a rich guy who lives across town. So they got the wrong guy, and what he's saying is, don't piss on my rug, don't come into my place, piss on my rug, because that's something that that should never happen to anybody. I mean, even some of these fighters, like we should not break into Michel Pereira's house and piss on his rug. He doesn't deserve that. He already lost the fight. We're the ones that bet on him. Nobody made us do that. Are we mad at that performance? Yes.
Yeah.
Do we go out and we piss on his rug, Brady? No, we were raised better than that, weren't we?
Absolutely. We were.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, don't piss on the rug, man. Don't piss on the rug. Fugat has a brutal strength of schedule for a mediocre fighter. Yeah, it is brutal, man. It's very brutal. Islam to pipe Adam on site. We shall see. Dulattov fights full retard. Yeah, he does. It kind of reminds me of like Hyder Emil style, but he has a lot of power, has an opportunistic submission game. I was very impressed with what I saw from the dude, so we'll see. Let's see. The carpet piss. Yeah, not a big fan of carpet pissers.
Terrible people.
Agreed. Let's see. Lewis pissed into Teixeira's corner. He did piss on it. You see that?
Are you kidding? He actually
he acted like it. Like he
acted like it. Yeah. He called Teixeira the king of the Brazilian cab drivers in his not the post-fight speech in the ring, but like when they were doing the interviews after the fights. So yeah, anytime Derek Lewis wins a fight and he gets that mic put in his face and he does the shorts around the head, it's always a crowd pleaser.
Yeah, it's always fun. It's always fun. All right, let's move on to the next fight. We have our guy, Jimmy Crute. He's taking on Marcin Prachnio. This card's wild. We have Ryan Spann, who's our guy. We have Kevin Holland, who's our guy. We have Jimmy Crute, who's our guy. A lot of our guys on this card. I like it.
Man. And Crute and Marcin Prachnio. One of our guys, man.
He's not my guy.
So much fun busting on this guy, getting arm triangled from the wrong side by a kickboxer in Modestas Bukauskas.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Oh God. Okay. So yeah, our guy Jimmy Crute taking on Marcin Prachnio. We got Jimmy Crute, 29 years old, 6'2", with a 74-inch reach. Prachnio, 36 years old, 6'3", with a 74-inch reach. Crute, 7 years younger, 1-inch height disadvantage, got the same reach there. Crute is, you don't see this too often, 0-3 in 2 draws in his last 5 fights. Knockout loss to Anthony Smith, knockout loss to Jamal Hill, draw against Alonzo Minifield, submission loss against Alonzo Minifield, and then a draw against Rodolfo Bellato. As far as Marcin Prachnio, he is 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Decision loss to Philippe Lins, decision win against William Knight, a submission loss to Vitor Petrino, a decision win against Devin Clark, and then a submission win against Modestas Bukauskas. So I know me and you, like back in the day, we thought Crute had like some high upside in the UFC. This guy seemed to have a pretty good skill set. He can knock guys out brutally on the feet. Knocked out. I remember that Modestas Bukauskas knockout. It was just brutal. It was mean. Knocked out Sam Alvey. Submitted Paul Craig in the 3rd round of a fight back in 2018. Like it looked like the ceiling for Crute was very high. And then he went on a big skid. Jimmy Crute has not won a fight since 2020. Lost to Smith Hill, Minifield, and Bellato was a draw, but hasn't won a fight in a very long time. But I'm looking through the record of Jimmy Crute, and it's like, this is going to be his easiest matchup to date, right? Like you look at Jimmy Crute's record, his easiest fights thus far. Sam Alvey knocked him out in the 1st round. What did Sam Alvey do to Marcin Prachnio?
Oh my God, he knocked him out 3 different times in the
3
same
different
fight.
times. 3 different times. And then the other easiest matchup Crute had was when Modestas Bukauskas knocked him out in 2 minutes. What did Modestas do to Marcin Prachnio?
He subbed him like he was a white belt, man.
Dude, I went back and watched that a couple of days ago. I laughed for like 10 minutes straight. It was almost as bad as the Volante choke, which, by the way, does anybody know? Dan Levy in the chat, Dan Levy grapples. Dan Levy, what is that choke even called? Because I can't for the life of me think of what Volante versus Green, what that choke is even called. Because if you go to Tapology, it's just listed as choke.
Choke. Choke.
It was the funniest thing ever. So getting submitted by Modestas Bukauskas the way he did, wrong side and all, didn't even look locked in. That was the worst look since the Maurice Green Volante choke there. But yeah, this is a fight where I think Crute should win. I've said that plenty of times, and he's let me down plenty of times. But I mean, this is a step down. I mean, what would Alonzo Menefield do to Marcin Prachnio? What would Jamal Hill do to Marcin Prachnio? Even Rodolfo Bellato. And it's like Crute's having moments in some of these fights. Like he almost finished Bellato in the first round. That fight could have potentially been stopped. Got into mount early, beat the brakes off of Bellato in the first round. Did drop the last two. Got into some very dominant positions in the very first Menefield fight. Got to his neck a couple times. Like if he's getting to those positions against Marcin Prachnio, who's a white belt, I think the fight could be over shortly after. I think for Crute to lose this fight, he's going to have to pull a William Knight and go out there and kickbox with Prachnio and do nothing. But that's just not how Crute fights. So, yeah, I think Crute should get it done. And I think there's some really good ways to play this fight. Like, I don't think the money line's wide enough. I taped this fight, and with all the inflated lines nowadays, Weezy, I was expecting to see Crute at something stupid. But no, he's only minus 285. And the reason being is because he has not won a fight in 5 years. But if he's going to win a fight, it's got to be this one. But the under 2.5 rounds at minus 115, that shocks me as well. Like, I think Crute takes down Prachnio and serves him. Like, Prachnio's 30, he's 36, almost 37. He has no ground game. He has no cardio. If Crute loses this fight, he should be ashamed of himself. Like, if Ryan Spann, Kevin Holland, or Jimmy Crute lose this weekend, they should be absolutely ashamed of themselves, Weezy.
I hear you, man. Dude, I think Junior Tafa could go out there and submit Marcin Prachnio. You know, I'm not joking, man. I mean, like, dude, you cannot, I mean, and I know that we've talked about it so many times, but like, you can't get choked out with an arm triangle from the wrong goddamn side. Even if you get choked out with an arm triangle from mount, it's not great, you know, but at least you're mounted. But like, you know, that's a choke that needs to be finished from the same side as the shoulder that you're choking him with. And to get it from the wrong side is just, it shows like a complete lack of ability to grapple, and it shows horrible cardio. And it was, the cardio went on Prachnio just because Modestas made him grapple. You know, and Modestas isn't a great wrestler. You know, that's not his game. That's not how he goes out there and wins fights. But he was able to do it against Prachnio. He fought real smart against him because the striking exchanges were kind of competitive there. And I think Crute could be competitive with Prachnio on the feet. But when this thing gets to the ground, I mean, it's going to look really bad, you know? So, yeah, I think Jimmy Crute's going to kick down Marcin Prachnio's door and piss all over his rug. I think that's what's going to happen here, man. And yeah, I think Crute probably gets him out of there first or second round, ground and pound or submission.
Yeah, I don't get the lines in this fight at all. I think the unders is an absolute steal. I think the Crute money line should be a lot wider. So we'll see. We'll see if Crute can get it done. And yep, so let's all ask Brave. He's okay. He's max bet Crute, who's 0-3-2 in his last 5 fights. I have my biggest bet since 2021. It's my first max bet since 2021. It's been almost 4 years, and I'm bringing it back. And it's going on the most trustworthy fighter in the UFC.
Yes.
Jimmy Crute. Let's get it done.
Let's go. Hey, man, that's why they call it gambling, baby. You got to risk in order to get the reward. And, yeah, Prachnio's ground game is tragic. So and if Jimmy blows this one, Brady.
Man, is Jimmy a fan of steak? I don't think he's a steak guy, right? I hope not.
He might be, man. I don't know. I mean, he needs this win. He's still only 29 years old. He needs to start stacking some wins. And those fights against Menefield, like that draw against Menefield was like, it was an all-timer. It was an amazing fight. The Bellato fight was phenomenal. You know, this guy's been in a lot of really fun fights. He's a great young fighter. He's still got room to improve and work into his physical prime. So, and he's in a division where at 29, you're very young at 205. So, yeah, he needs a win here. He better not throw this. He better not pull a steakhouse bet here and just run through Marcin Prachnio and finish him inside the distance.
Yeah, if the Crute that fought Minifield in their first fight shows up, I mean, he's destroying them. And even if the Crute that fight Dulattov off of a big layoff shows up, he's destroying him as well. So hopefully Crute's ready to go. He looks ready to go, looks to be in shape. So we'll see if he can get it done. Live for a draw. Yeah, it could be live for a draw, but this might be the one time where they don't have the draw at plus 6,600 just because it's happened so many times for Crute. But yeah, that's what I kind of like about my bet, Wheezy, with the money line. I think worst case scenario, I get my money back with the draw.
Yeah, right. Right. If he 10-8s him and then gets tired and Prachnio picks him apart.
The problem is Prachnio gets tired, at least with Bellotto. Bellotto gets better as the fight goes on. So I don't even know if the draw is it's just a weird, I don't know if the draw is live there. Crute doesn't trust his chin in fights, like he's afraid to take damage. I don't think Prachnio has a lot of power. Prachnio only has one knockout in the UFC. Can you guess against who it was against? He's very durable.
I forgot who he knocked out.
Ike Villanueva.
Oh, Ike Villanueva. That's right. Oh my God.
We got to get him back in there. We got to get Ike back in there.
Man, Ike was doing bare knuckle, I think.
Oh God, is he really?
Yeah, I think he was. If I'm not mistaken, man, I think he was doing some bare knuckle. So yeah, shout out Ike Villanueva, another favorite of the Stat Diggers crew.
He's back in the COVID day. He went 1-5 in the UFC.
Yeah, he got a win over
Vinicius Ferreira.
Vinicius Moreira, yeah, man.
God.
I remember that. That was awesome. I thought he was gonna outlast Jordan Wright, and he didn't.
Yeah. I think I was on Ike there too. Jeez, and in hindsight, that's so bad. So bad. Brady Uncle Weezy, what do you rate 318 on a 1 to 10 scale? If I wasn't betting on these fights, it'd be a lot lower. But with everything considered, I'd say like a 6.5.
I think it's going to be a fun card, man. And yeah, and I think we haven't really even talked about it being in New Orleans and Dustin Poirier being from Louisiana. I think that's, that adds another layer of interesting to this card because I love New Orleans. It's a place I've been several times. It's an amazing city. And the fact that the UFC is going to be there is going to be awesome.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. So it's arm triangle from bottom, but it was really a tap due to exhaustion. So
yeah.
They just called it choke on tap. I've never seen that. That was hilarious.
Forever known as the Volante choke.
Volante, yeah, that's what they should name it. Volante choke. Saw Jimmy Crute slamming some ice cold vodka Red Bull slushies at a bar here in New Orleans Friday night. Do they have those? They got the Red Bull vodka Red Bull slushies. Those sound good. That's hilarious because somebody said that, Wheezy, when Crute fought Bellotto, because I was on Crute. I had him inside the distance and it almost hit. And somebody messaged me and saying they saw Crute at a bar drinking. And
really?
I was like 90% sure they were joking, but now that Big Boy's saying this, I don't know. Is Jimmy Crute an alcoholic drinking on fight week?
Well, he's Australian.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. But I don't know if I think he was saying that he was trying to get off of the alcohol. So I don't know if he's drinking now.
I heard a few people saying unders are a steal. The line has barely moved. Yeah, the line's been minus 115 all day for this under 2.5 rounds. I haven't bet it because I already have a lot of action, but I might be adding on to this fight. Am I hearing things? Are you serious, Brady? Yes. When you think a line should be minus 500 and it's only minus 238, you got to put a big bet on it, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a pussy. What happened to the good old days where draws were plus 8,000 by default? On some books, they are. Like on 365, they are default. When Marcin wins by DQ, Brady will be deleting his channel. If I haven't deleted my channel by now, I don't think I ever will. Crute via Kimura. Yeah, it could be a Kimura. Yeah. Could be an arm triangle from the wrong side. Could be an arm triangle from Mount. Kimura is very alive though. I'm interested to see where that is lined on MGM. Just the money line, minus 238, Jimmy Crute. Isn't Crute dealing with all kinds of mental shit? Aren't we all? Aren't we all dealing with all kinds of mental shit?
These guys are fighters. They're not in that cage because everything went perfectly for them growing up.
Interested to see where the sub prop's at. Me too. Australians basically live in bars. Jimmy stopped drinking. Good to hear.
Okay.
Stop drinking for this fight. So he stopped drinking for this fight. After the fight, we'll see. This fight, he stopped drinking. Okay. So hopefully he doesn't show up drunk. All right, moving on to the next fight. Oh, poor Jackson McVey. Went from fighting a dude in a dog crate to Bruno Ferreira. We got Jackson McVey, 26 years old, 6'4", with a 77-inch reach. We got Bruno Ferreira, 32 years old, 5'10", with a 72-inch reach. We got Jackson McVey, 6 years younger. Jackson McVey with a 6-inch height advantage and a 5-inch reach advantage. Bruno Ferreira is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Knockout loss to Nursultan Ruzaboev. Knockout win against Phil Hawes. Knockout win against Dustin Stoltzfus. Submission loss to Abus Magomedov. And then a submission win against Armin Petrosian. As far as Jackson McVey, 5-0 in his last 5 fights, making his debut. Like I said, was supposed to fight Dumas. Dumas pulled out due to ankle monitor. Some random bum stepped in, missed the weight by 10 pounds. And then the fight got called off, and now they're bringing him back. And he's taking like an astronomical step up from that bum and SD to now Bruno Ferreira, one of the scariest guys in the division. So, yeah, so Bruno Ferreira is the biggest favorite on the card, Weezy. He's currently sitting at minus 725, which is kind of disgusting for a guy in Bruno who I don't think has the best durability. I don't think has the best cardio. I think this is going to be an absolute car crash. So they have the under 1.5 rounds priced as if Terrence McKinney was fighting in it. The under 1.5 rounds, under 1.5 rounds is minus 255, minus 285 on some books, 290 I see for the under 1.5 rounds. And honestly, like it probably should be a little bit wider. I mean, with the way these two fight, but the only thing I will say is Bruno Ferreira, his last 2 fights in the first round, he's been taking his time against Abus Magomedov. He didn't throw anything in the first. Against Armin Petrosian, really low volume in the first. So he's kind of taking his time a little bit. So I'd be careful laying minus 245 on the under. But with that said, I think Jackson McVey is going to force a fight. I think these guys are going to swing dicks. I think somebody's getting served in the first round. But minus 725, no thank you.
Yeah, this wasn't supposed to be what Jackson McVey was going to be doing. You know, like he's 26 years old. He's had 6 professional fights that have lasted a grand total of 8 minutes. So when he got signed to the UFC, you know, I mean, like we knew that he was going to be on that Contender series or he was going to be getting a short notice opportunity. But the problem was that they lined him up with somebody that would have been a good fight for him in Dumas, but ankle monitor, you know, legal problems. And then he winds up, who did they put him in there against? I even forgot. Like, it was that Ewert guy, right? Ewert. Yeah. And then he shows up 10 pounds fat and McVey. Now McVey's fighting Ferreira, and it's like, whoa, wait, I signed up for this, but I didn't sign up for this, dude. You know, this is a few steps up the ladder. So it's a problem. But, you know, really, we don't know anything about this McVey kid yet, you know, because frankly, they're kind of the same fighter. You know, they both go in there and fight like they have a plane to catch. Ferreira, 15 fights as a professional, 4.5 minutes average fight time. And for Jackson McVey, it's a 1.4 minute average fight time. So McVey's got a really good clinch game, and he's huge, dude. He's going to be 6 inches taller and have a 5-inch reach advantage over Bruno, who's extremely small for the division. So it's going to be interesting to see how these guys attack this one. This would be dog or pass for me on the money line, but it's hard to get to the McVey side because he's got so much to prove still. And when you look at these, you know, bus boys and cab drivers that he's beating on the regional scene, I think his best win comes against Top Ape Mateo Garner, you know, but he destroyed him. You know, he got him in the clinch and he just put him into the wood chipper. It was nasty. So I'm interested to see how he does against somebody like Ferreira, who also is a big finisher early in fights. So it's going to be a car crash, like you said. And I think that under where it's priced right now, it makes a lot of sense that it's priced there. You're muted.
No, I was waiting for you to finish up your breakdown.
Okay. So, it's all right.
Definitely was not muted. Anyway, so I think the under minus 250. No, thank you. Ferreira money line minus 725. No, thank you. I'll be passing on this fight, but it should be violent. It should be fun. But yeah, don't really see much sticking out here. Let's see. Jackson's better everywhere.
I don't know about that.
I don't know.
He's a good young fighter, but he's got a lot to prove.
Yeah, I don't know about that one there. Let's see. No, Jimmy stopped drinking for the weekend. He starts back up tomorrow. There we go.
Fair enough.
There we go. McVey just rushes in. Yeah, it's going to be a card. There's a reason the under is minus 245, man. Poor McVey. Yeah, doesn't make sense going from SD Dumas to this. I advise against swinging dicks against each other. Sometimes they get tangled and it can't be undone. Now you got a dude pissing on your belly button till the day you die. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Peener.
It's always good to have the medical professionals in here telling us about, harmful and dangerous behavior.
Yep. Excited to see how McVey will perform. Got to stand up for my St. Louis guys. Yep. It's a tough match. Wish they would have rebooked the Dumas fight, but Dumas can't get that ankle monitor off. He just can't get it off.
Damn it.
Yeah. So maybe in a little bit. All right. Let's move on to the next fight. We have Kyler Phillips going against Vinicius Oliveira. We got Kyler Phillips, 30 years old, 5'8" with a 72-inch reach. Vinicius Oliveira, 29 years old, 5'9" with a 70-inch reach. Oliveira 1 year younger, 1-inch height advantage and a 2-inch reach disadvantage. Kyler Phillips 3-2 in his last 5 fights. A decision loss to Rolian Paiva, a submission win against Marcelo Rojo, a decision win against Hani Barcelos, a decision win against Pedro Munoz, and then a decision loss to Rob Font. As far as Vinicius Oliveira, 5-0 in his last 5 fights. He made his debut against Bernardo Sopai, won that fight by 3rd round knockout, beat Ricky Simon by decision, and then beat Sayadar Magomedov by decision. So this fight's very interesting. Kyler Phillips goes from being like a minus 500, 600 favorite to Rob Font to now being an underdog against Vinicius Oliveira here. And it's a tricky fight to call because if Kyler Phillips had cardio, had 15-minute cardio, I would be max betting him here. The problem is he just doesn't. He slows down in every single fight. And in the Rob Font fight, it was the worst it ever was. He completely death-gassed in that fight. So don't love the cardio of Phillips. And if this fight does get extended and I have a bet on Phillips, I probably won't feel too great about it. If this fight was 7.5 minutes, I would love Kyler Phillips in this fight. But as far as I'm concerned, this fight's scheduled for 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of what makes it tricky. I think Kyler wins the first round at an astronomically high clip. I think if you like Oliveira, maybe live bet him. But the question is, can Kyler keep up that pace, keep it up for enough to win at least the second round and then maybe coast in the third or maybe finish Oliveira early? It's a tricky one. I wish Phillips had cardio. It'd make it a lot easier, but I don't know. It's a tough fight to call. The line doesn't really indicate that. I think Oliveira's at, never mind. The lines came in quite a bit. Oliveira's minus 158, Kyler Phillips plus 138. So a lot of money has came in on Phillips, and I completely get it, but it's really hard to trust Kyler. It's really hard to trust a guy with no cardio.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I bet against Oliveira with Sopai. I bet against Oliveira with Ricky Simon. I bet against Vinicius Oliveira with Said Nurmagomedov. And I'm done. I'm not betting on him, but I am done betting against this guy. He finds ways to win, and he's just a dog in there, man. He's looking to kill you with everything that he throws. His takedown defenses look pretty damn good at this level. His grappling game looks extremely efficient. And he's just getting the job done. I mean, like Said Nurmagomedov and Ricky Simon are great back-to-back wins. And with Kyler Phillips, you got this 30-year-old fighter who's still a spectacular and exciting prospect with some wild kicks and great athletic ability. But like you said, he slows down consistently. But, this is a weird one because, Kyler is not somebody that's going to need to have grappling success in order to win this fight. So if he wants to kind of just stay at range with Vinicius, I think that he's going to do well there. I think Kyler's going to throw a lot more volume than his two previous opponents did at distance striking range. And trends are very important, and recency bias is something that moves lines, and good recency bias can make a fighter too expensive. Bad recency bias can make a fighter cheaper than what they would normally be. And this is a great example of that. You got Kyler Phillips, who was a minus 600 favorite in the Robbie Fonch fight. And then now he's going up against Oliveira and he's a plus 150 underdog, and Fonch is ranked higher in the division than Oliveira is. So I think that that's an interesting look, that you're getting a big discount on a guy in Kyler Phillips who lost the decision to Rob Font, and it wasn't the best performance, but Kyler knows what he needs to work on. He knows that he needs to do the road work and to work on that conditioning and work on the energy management. And if he does that, I think he can, that this is going to be an extremely competitive fight. These guys are about 6 months apart in age, Brady. Vinicius Oliveira has 25 professional fights at only 29 years of age, 10 more fights than Kyler Phillips, but it's obviously Kyler who's got 5 more fights at the UFC level and about 60 more minutes in the UFC octagon. So, yeah, I think this one's very close. I think it should be priced very close to 50-50 here because Oliveira has been phenomenal and on a great run lately. And he's, I think he's on at least a 5-fight win streak. I think the last loss came to Ali Taleb in UAE Warriors. And we all know, Brady, that Ali Taleb hits hard. So, yeah, it's a great fight. I can't wait to see how this one plays out.
Yep. Money coming in on Phillips, which is annoying. I didn't really expect this because Oliveira is probably one of the most hyped prospects right now. But yeah, money is coming in on Phillips. He was like plus 160 earlier today. He's now plus 138. Oliveira is sitting at minus 158. So this line's closing up, which I get. And I'm tempted on Phillips, but at the same time, it's like if I have a bet on Phillips and we're halfway through the second round and it's happened so many times. Like he slows down in every single fight. And sometimes he is able to fight through it. Wasn't really able to against Font. Like Barcelo's kind of able to fight through it. Munoz, Rojo. But Paiva, he slowed down to the point where he ended up losing to Paiva somehow. So,
yeah.
Yep, it's a very interesting one for sure. The over-under set at 2.5. The over 2.5 is minus 185. The under 2.5 is plus 155. Oliveira's been finished in all of his losses, but Phillips has never been finished. Kind of a tricky total there.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me see what my model says. My model prefers the overs to the unders here. Over 2.5 minus 185 is a very undervalued bet according to my model.
Our bookie's still pretending Kyler is the top 5 fighter. I mean, he's the dog. he's the underdog.
Not this time. Not this time. They were last time.
I will enter the Matrix this weekend. Okay, I might enter myself. We'll see. Kylie showed his holes against Rob Font. Is he a Connor type of fighter? No, but he does have a hole, and that's the cardio. Problem with Kyler, he isn't aware of his cardio problem. He's got to be aware at this point, right?
I think that he is aware of it, but I think for him it's because of the energy that he puts into his attacks. Those wild kicks, that just to throw a punch and to throw some of the kicks that he throws, you use a lot more energy. And also with that lateral movement that he's constantly doing, it's going to be something that slows you down. Yeah,
that's the way he fights. All right, let's keep moving on to the next fight. It is going to be Marvin Vettori going against another very trustworthy favorite here in Brendan Allen. We have Jimmy Crute as a big favorite, Kevin Holland as a big favorite, Ryan Spann as a big favorite, and then Brendan Allen as a pretty big favorite. Brendan Allen is 29 years old, 6'2", with a 75-inch reach. Marvin Vettori, 31 years old, 6 foot with a 74-inch reach. We got Allen 2 years younger, Allen with a 2-inch height advantage and a 1-inch reach advantage. Vettori is 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Decision win against Paulo Costa. Decision loss against Robert Whittaker. Decision win against Roman Dolidze. Decision loss against Jared Cannonier. Decision loss to Roman Dolidze. As far as Brendan Allen, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. submission win against Bruno Silva, submission win against Paul Craig, decision win against Chris Curtis, decision loss to Nasser Naimavov, and a decision loss to Anthony Hernandez. And yeah, it's a very interesting fight here. I think it's a very close fight. I think it's a very, very close fight. I think this fight primarily takes place on the feet. I just really struggle to see Allen taking down and holding down someone like Vettori. He's a great grappler in his own right. Really good takedown defense, really hard to control. You don't really see anybody taking down and controlling Vettori. So I kind of think they're going to strike. And yeah, Vettori looked awful in his last fight against Dulattov. He looked washed. I'm like, is this guy washed? He's only 30 years old. He can't be washed, but it looked like it. But I think a lot of that had to do with the long layoff. I think he had like a 2 or so year layoff. He showed up and he just looked uninterested. He looked unmotivated, and it definitely showed in the fight. He actually had some moments against Dulattov. He actually hurt Dulattov at one point, but overall, it's just a trash performance from Marvin Vettori. But it is good to see him back in there. Taken like 3-4 months since his last fight, so that's good. But yeah, I think it's a close fight. I think this fight is going to take place standing. I do like the volume of Vettori. Both guys have terrible striking defense. I think it goes to decision, and I think it goes into the hands of the crooked corrupt judges. So I don't really get this line. I don't get why Allen's minus 210. I just don't really see it playing out that way. And these two were actually scheduled to fight a couple of years ago, and I believe Vettori was like a slight favorite. So I'm not sure what has changed other than Vettori looking like complete trash since then. But yeah, I think this has split decision written all over it. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, I could see it playing that way. And the markets have the over 2.5 rounds priced at minus 260 for this fight. So, I mean, obviously right there, you're looking at over 70% implied probability that this one goes over 2.5 rounds. So, yeah, I mean, like the judges are going to get involved, and it's not like Brendan Allen is going to be that much better of a striker than Marvin Vettori, but we got to keep in mind this is Brendan Allen in Louisiana. That's his home state. So he's going to get a little bit of a rub there from the crowd, maybe from the judges. So I think it was probably going to be Brendan Allen by decision because nobody ever finishes Marvin Vettori, and the guy's got an absolute brick for a head, so it doesn't matter how hard you hit him, you're not going to knock him out. And like you said, man, I mean, like this guy's got 16 UFC fights, almost 280 minutes in the UFC octagon, and over that massive sample size against the best middleweights on the planet, this guy's only getting controlled for 6% of his MMA octagon time. So, I mean, like this guy is very difficult to win minutes or moments off of in the grappling exchanges. And if that's the case, then, it's going to come down to whether Vettori can get a takedown maybe, because Brendan Allen's takedown defense is not great. 54%. Historically, we saw Jacob Malkoun get him down. We saw, obviously Anthony Hernandez, and Vettori's no Anthony Hernandez, but, we've seen people have some success on the ground against Brendan. So I do think that this is going to be a close fight as well. That over is at minus 260, could be a potential parlay piece for this week. And I think it's probably going to be Brendan Allen by decision because Vettori, after the 2-year layoff, the injuries, that kind of thing has me worried about the current momentum that he's bringing into this fight. It's bad recency bias. It's no wins for like 3 years, and Vettori's just kind of limited. And I mean, he doesn't have a ton of power. He doesn't win a bunch of minutes on the mat. He's just kind of like there for the full 3 rounds or the full 5 rounds, and he's competitive in the striking exchanges. But I think it's going to be Brendan Allen by decision.
Yep, I could see it. I think the line is pretty wide for just kind of how I see it playing out. I think it all comes down to whether Marvin Vettori is washed or not. Like, could he be the youngest washed fighter ever, or was it just a one-off bad performance? I think we'll find out a lot about Marvin Vettori. Does he have anything left, or is he a 31-year-old washed fighter? We'll see.
Well, Brady, he's absorbed 1,218 significant strikes.
Well, Holloway's absorbed 5,000.
Well, I mean, not 5,000, but it's
3,000.
Yeah, it's more than Vettori, but like Vettori's getting hit at middleweight, and he's getting hit with shots that would knock other people out 20 different times, and he's absorbing them. So yeah, maybe it is catching up to him, dude.
It could be washed.
It could absolutely be catching up to him. The long layoff, all the damage that he takes, we're going to see on Saturday.
Highest IQ matchup versus Allen has some of the worst fight IQ on the card. The division has definitely passed him. I feel like the over is an absolute lock. I kind of feel that way as well because I don't think Vettori's finishing Allen, and I don't think Allen's finishing Vettori. Vettori has a much better gas tank, though.
Agreed.
That's true. Going to be close, in my opinion, waiting for the plus 3.5. I think the plus 3.5 is going to be god-awful. I think the plus 3.5 is going to open minus 200 for Vettori. I think they're going to be all over it, but maybe I'm wrong. Those mother effers robbed me with the 40. Yeah, they gave Wonderboy only 42 strikes.
Yeah, it's funny how that works sometimes. Those prop bets can get a little bit weird.
Yeah, I definitely thought there was more than 42. All right, let's keep moving on to the next fight. It is going to be Daniel Zellhuber going against poor Michael Johnson. We got Michael Johnson, 39 years old, 5'10" with a 73-inch reach. Daniel Zellhuber, 26 years old, 6'1" with a 77-inch reach. Zellhuber, 13 years younger, 3-inch height advantage, 4-inch reach advantage. Michael Johnson, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Decision loss to Jamie Malarkey. Decision win against Mark Diakese. Knockout loss to Carlos Diego Ferreira. Decision win against Darius Flowers. And a knockout win against Otman Azaitar. As far as Daniel Zellhuber, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Decision loss against Trey Ogden. A decision win against Lando Venata. A submission win against Christos Giagos. Decision win against Francisco Prado. And then a decision loss to Esteban Ribovics. And yeah, should be Zellhuber all day. Don't really understand why they made this fight, but yeah, Zellhuber should go out there and beat Johnson however he wants to. Probably finishes him as well. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, I mean, we got a guy that's 13 years younger here in Daniel Zellhuber, and he's taking a lot less damage. That knockout that Michael Johnson took against Carlos Diego Ferreira was a career changer, and we got some really advantageous prices against guys like Darius Flowers and Otman Azaitar in his next 2 fights. So, Michael Johnson's carrying a 2-fight win streak into this fight, and he's won 3 out of his last 4. So he's kind of turned it around after being pretty underwhelming for a long time. But, this is just a younger, taller, longer, better version of him. Zellhuber throws more kicks. He stays a lot busier not a lot busier, but he stays busier than Michael Johnson at range. And he's extremely durable. That's the one thing about Zellhuber. I think that there's going to be a big durability advantage on the Zellhuber side, especially after the nasty knockout that we saw Johnson took a couple years ago. He's 39 years old. He's another guy who's taken a bunch of damage. Let's see how many significant strikes. Michael Johnson has absorbed 1,087 significant strikes over his UFC career. So, yeah, you got one guy in Zellhuber who's won 3 out of his last 4 fights and is 26 years old and is looking like, a very promising prospect in this division, going up against a guy in Michael Johnson, whose last 2 wins are against bottom of the barrel UFC competition. So I think Zellhuber does get the job done here. But Brady, we would be doing our audience a disservice if we didn't remind them that Daniel Zellhuber lost a striking match to Trey Ogden.
I know.
So, look, it can happen, you guys. It can absolutely happen because, we saw him lose that match to Ribovics, but Ribovics is a completely different fighter than Johnson. I mean, Ribovics is a maniac, and Ribovics has got a crazy chin, so he can stay in your face and throw that much volume and create that kind of a chaotic war. Johnson is a lot more technical. He's fast. He's a good boxer. He takes angles. He's good. He's been out there against the best lightweights in the division and has put on some really good performances against some of those guys. So there's a chance that Michael Johnson can keep this very, very close, and that laying juice on Zellhuber in this spot could get a little bit risky if that version of Zellhuber that lacks a little bit of urgency and wants to be pretty and technical comes out here against Michael Johnson. I could see this fight turning technical and it wind up playing a lot closer, because if you look at the level of competition that Michael Johnson has been out there striking against compared to Daniel Zellhuber, I mean, his wins are against Lando Venata, Christos Giagos, and Francisco Prado. So let's face it, like if he beat Johnson, that's the highest level win of his career. So I would just say you got to be very careful here with Daniel Zellhuber. We've seen him kind of go out there and show a lack of urgency and just kind of want a point fight. And if he does that against Johnson, Johnson might oblige him, and Johnson might be able to, look pretty good in some of those exchanges.
Maybe. That'd be crazy. But yeah, that's kind of why I was gonna look in a parlay like Zellhuber and Holland. It was terrible odds. But then I remembered the Ogden fight, and I'm like, I'm okay on that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Zellhuber should get it done. It's definitely a wide line though. But yeah, if Johnson wins this fight, this is gonna be Johnson's best win since Dustin Poirier back in 2016. You listen to Johnson's wins: Ottman Azaitar, Darius Flowers, Alon Patrick, and Artem Lobov, and Mark Diakase, his last 5 wins. The best win being Diakase, but yeah, not good.
Yeah, I mean, but who's Daniel Zellhuber's best wins?
Prado, Giagos, Fanata. Yeah, bad.
I think Johnson would be favorites against all those guys.
He probably would, and he'd probably find a way to lose.
Yeah, no, I'm not arguing that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be the guy that's like, no, Michael Johnson never finds ways to lose. Well, no, he's got 12 UFC losses since the year 2013.
Only 12?
Find ways. Well, that's just since 2013.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, I don't know how I'm going to attack this one. They have the over-under actually set at 1.5, which is interesting. It kind of feels like it should be 2.5. But over 1.5 minus 200. The under 1.5 is plus 160.
Oh, dude, my model loves that over 2.5 at -2 or over 1.5 at -200.
My bad.
26 fight sample size, Brady. 21 of 26 or 80.77% of their combined fights have went over 2 or over 1.5 rounds, and we're only paying 66.67% on the line. It's actually a trifecta bet on my over-under betting model. So yeah, that -200, that could be another potential parlay piece for this week, because I don't see Zellhuber with crazy KO power at this level, and the same thing with Johnson.
Yeah, I don't get why they put it at 1.5. I know Johnson's been finished like 15 times, but Zellhuber is more like an attritional type guy.
Yeah, and I mean all 5 of Zellhuber's UFC fights have went over 1.5, and for Michael Johnson, it's 16 of 21.
Wow. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get what they're thinking there, but yeah, I like the over too.
Yeah, that's a good look for me too.
Johnson got a pearl necklace tattoo. Very sus. That is pretty sus.
It's not a pearl. It's a crucifix but it's like a rosary. It's not pearls.
Okay. All right.
I think I don't know that. I mean, like it. I'm not going to call Michael Johnson sus.
Crute, Allen, Johnson for the low IQ parlay. We can throw Ryan Spann in there too. We can throw a lot of these guys on there. Kevin Holland can be in the fight IQ parlay.
Yep.
That under is saying Zellhuber just runs through Johnson, but Zell is such a slow starter. I don't think he runs through. I think he could finish him, but I think if he does finish him, it's probably going to be later in the fight. So, yeah, very interesting. Yeah, my favorite spot is probably the over, to be honest. Over 1.5.
It's underpriced at this price.
Yep. All right, let's move on to the next fight. We have Paulo Costa going against Roman Kopylov. We got Paulo Costa, 34 years old, 6'1" with a 72-inch reach. Roman Kopylov, 34 years old, 6 foot with a 75-inch reach. Same age there. Costa with a 1-inch height advantage and a 3-inch reach disadvantage. Costa is 1-4 in his last 5 fights. Knockout loss to Adesanya. Decision loss to Marvin Vettori. Decision win against Luke Rockhold. Decision loss against Robert Whittaker. And then a decision loss against Sean Strickland. As far as Kopylov, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Knockout win against Claudio Ribeiro. Knockout win against Josh Fremd. Submission loss to Anthony Hernandez. Decision win against Cesar Almeida. And then a knockout win against Chris Curtis. This is one I'm probably just going to stay away from. Paulo Costa just seems like he doesn't care anymore. I kind of felt that way for a while. Like, kind of feels like he hasn't cared since the Romero fight. That's the last time I feel like he's cared. And that fight was 6 years ago. Like, time flies. 6 years ago since that Romero fight, 7 years since the Uriah Hall fight, and since then it's all been bad. He was drinking the night before the Adesanya fight, gets TKO'd against Adesanya. He refused to cut down the middleweight. And the Vettori Costa fight ended up being at light heavyweight. That was a bad look. So didn't care to even cut weight. He takes 43-year-old Luke Rockhold to the decision. That was a bad look. Gets outclassed by Robert Whittaker. It is what it is. And then just didn't really show up against Sean Strickland for 5 rounds. I scored it 50-45, Sean Strickland. But one of the judges actually scored the fight for Paulo Costa. Chris Lee agreed with me. Chris Lee had it 50-45 Strickland. Sal D'Amato had it 49-46 Strickland. But Dave Torelli had it 49-46 for Paulo Costa. So quite frankly, I haven't been impressed with Costa in 6 years. In 6 years. With that said, though, like if he showed up and cared like this, he could win this fight. It's just I haven't seen that in a long time. So I'm passing here. I don't really see anything sticking out. I don't want to lay minus 255 on Kopylov. I don't want to put any money on Costa ever. And it's going to be one I'm probably going to sit back and watch. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this one here?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel the same way, but I do feel like that for me, this would be dog or pass because Paulo Costa's last 5 fights are against champions or people who have fought for the championship. Adesanya, former champion. Vettori fought Adesanya for the championship. Rockhold, former champion. Whittaker, former champion. Strickland, former champion. And he doesn't look washed to me. He looks like he doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
He looks like that. I mean, but he looks like he could still kind of go out there and hit hard, and he still throws a lot of or a decent amount of volume, I would say. He's still extremely accurate whenever he does throw, and he's got some power and he's got some good low leg kicks. And he's a one-dimensional fighter like Kopylov is, you know, where these guys are going to stand and bang. And Kopylov is probably going to do a little bit more, show a little bit wider diversity of weapons, and have a little bit better defense. So he should win this fight based on that. But, I mean, you look at like even the Chris Curtis fight, that was a very close fight until he caught that knockout with 1 second left. Cesar Almeida, he had to rely on his wrestling to beat Cesar Almeida. He loses to Anthony Hernandez, and then it's wins over Claudio Ribeiro, who's out of the UFC, and I think Josh Fremd is out of I don't know if Josh is out of the UFC yet, but so it's a step up in competition here for for Roman. And Paulo is somebody that can, he's shown that he can go 5 rounds, and he's doing it. So I feel like Kopylov is the kind of guy that you just don't want to lay minus 260 on. It's too wide. And Costa, if he does show up, if he does make weight, if he does get in that cage on Saturday, I think he's going to put on a pretty good performance. Will it be good enough to beat Roman? We'll find out, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than what the lines are saying it's going to be right now.
Yeah, could be. I want nothing to do with this fight, to be honest.
I hear you.
Brady just naming black people for Fight IQ. I said Brendan Allen and Jimmy Crute, who are, as far as I'm concerned, both white, right?
I'm not an expert, because, your Uncle Weezy doesn't see color, Brady.
Yeah.
No, I mean, Crute and Brendan Allen have shown a horrific Fight IQ. A lot of, in several different fights. So you're not just blaming. And it's not like, Ryan Spann could be, as white as Bo Nickel. That Fight IQ would still be horrible.
It would still be very bad. Agreed. Are there odds for Costa? I'm pulling out. I think I'm at a pick 'em last time I checked. Minus 110 for Costa to pull out. Costa going to pull out slow and sexy style. Oh.
Hey-oh.
Oh, boy. Get some help. Dave Torelli. Yeah, that was wild. I can't believe that. Kopylov head kicks might line up very nicely on Costa. I see Kopylov quitting before Costa. They both have a little quit in them a little bit, right? Like if things aren't going their way, they look for the door. Not saying Costa can get finished, but he kind of slows down a little bit.
If you drank a bottle and a half of red wine before you fought Israel Adesanya, you'd quit too.
That's true.
But outside of that, he's never been finished.
Yep. Yeah, he's very, very durable. Very durable. But kind of seems like he can get like a little discouraged in there at times, like the Vettori.
No, I agree with that.
The Strickland fight, like he didn't look like he showed up much in that fight. But over 2.5 is a lock spot for you. Yeah, probably hits, but probably some scary moments involved with these two hard hitters.
Yeah.
Costa via third round secret juice. He looked great against Johnny Hendricks, another guy that allowed the division to pass him, sat inactive. Yeah, that fight, let's see. That fight was back in 2017. He did look good.
Wow. Yeah, and that was Fat Hendricks, who didn't want to cut to 170 anymore.
Yeah. Maybe that was my head. I heard. Yeah, it was probably need to get some new earphones. Costa had a body on him. Secret juice for me, please. Costa has a body on him. Secret juice for me, please. Okay. Brady has a Weston Wilson UFC trading card. This might be his last show. Yeah, I got a autographed Weston Wilson card.
That's badass, dude. I saw that on Twitter. I was like, oh my God, that lucky prick.
Yeah, I was ecstatic about it. And then, you know what else I got in the pack I got today?
What?
That kind of pissed me off a little bit. I got a Jeff Molina card, numbered out of like 150. And why? Why are they making Jeff Molina cards? Like, this guy hasn't fought in 3 years.
And didn't he get a lifetime? Did he get a lifetime ban from the UFC, or was that Krause?
I don't think he got I think Molina's actually still on the roster, but it just shocks me.
My bad.
It shocks me how they made a Jeff Molina card in 2025. I don't get that from Topps. So shame on Topps for that. They also made a Cedricus Dumas card.
I saw that. That was awesome that you got that card, dude. That's awesome.
Maybe I can hit him up and maybe get it autographed.
Yeah, if he comes to Chicago, dude, we're.
Do you think he can write his name? Do you think he can write his name, ST, or no?
He's gonna sign it with an X.
Oh gosh, Molina signed with Bear. I did see that. I think they cut him shortly after, didn't they? They signed him and then
I think they signed him, cut him. I don't know what's going on.
I don't get it, but all right. So let's keep moving on, guys. We have Atiba Godier going against Robert Valentin. We got Godier, who's 23 years old, 6'4", with an 81-inch reach. Valentin, 30 years old, 6'2", with a 79-inch reach. Godier, 7 years younger, 2-inch height advantage, 2-inch reach advantage. Godier is 5-0 in his last 5 fights, all by knockout. Contender Series knockout in the second round. First round knockout against Jose Medina. As far as Robert Valentin, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Knockout loss to Ryan Loder in round 2, and then a decision loss for Finney in last time out. So Robert Valentin, like, he's probably very happy that he gets to actually strike in the UFC. But the bad part is they're giving him Atiba Godier. It's like, geez, like, cut this guy Robert Valentin a break, because I actually think he's good. I think he's dangerous. I think he's fun. But we haven't really got to see that because Ryan Loder took him down, TKO'd him. Torres Finney humped his leg for 15 minutes. And now he will get the opportunity to strike, but Godier is a scary, scary man. I think this is going to be a car crash. I think these guys are going to swing dicks. And yeah, Godier is a massive favorite. Godier is sitting as a minus 550 favorite, which currently makes him the third biggest favorite on the card. And yeah, it's a wide line. It's certainly a wide line, but I got to go Godier here. I think he probably touches the chin of Valentin early in this one. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight? It should be pretty fun.
Yeah, like, this is one of those fights where I'm inclined to take a shot on the dog, and this is one of those, Atiba Godier, 7 fights, 51 minutes, 7-1. His UFC fight took about 3.5 minutes, but yeah, dude, this guy, we've seen this guy out of the first round like once or twice, I think. And the only time we saw him out of the first round, like, he lost. He went the distance against a Welsh dude who never fought again. and he was completely gassed after one round. Aiba Godier is only 23 years old. So I really need to see more out of this guy at this point, because like while we've seen Islam Dulattov, beating some high-level guys on the regional scene before he got here, Aiba Godier, I don't even know where he's training. I know he was training at Manchester Top Team, but like that guy Naito that he beat on Contender Series was awful. Carlos de Souza in Fight KLB Series, he had a KO over a guy in Titan FC. So like the level of competition is not great, so we've got a lot to learn here still about this kid. And we do know is that he's an athletic freak and that he looks like he can punch a hole through a brick wall. So, but what if Valentin lands a shot on him? What if Valentin gets a takedown, Brady? What if that happens? Valentin's got a decent ground game. Not phenomenal or anything like that, obviously, but Gautier's ground game is a relative unknown. So there's a lot of questions that need to be answered, and you're betting minus 550 on a guy that might be training out of Africa right now.
I think he's at Manchester Top Team still.
He is still at Manchester Top Team. They're saying that? Okay, that's good. That's a good thing, because if he's training in Cameroon, like we saw what happened to Josias Musasa, who's training in the Congo. You need to be training with high-level bodies in the gym and with coaches who have experience training high-level mixed martial artists if you're going to fight at this level. So still a lot to prove, though. Only 4 years of MMA experience, not a lot of high-level opponents, but he's got the hardware in spades. The power, the 6'4", 81-inch reach, switch stance fighter, crazy power, crazy athleticism. So the kid's got a really high ceiling, but, going from Medina and Naito to Valentin is a sizable step up in competition against a 30-year-old fighter with 16 professional fights and 133 minutes of professional cage time. And all that time in the Ultimate Fighter House, which is basically a crash course on MMA with some of the best coaches and fighters on the planet telling you some of the secrets of the game. So I think that Robert Valentin at plus 400, Brady, I think it's a really good look this week. And he might die 30 seconds into this fight. If this guy Gautier's got crazy power, but if he doesn't die, he might not die. And, like Nate Landwehr says, if I ain't losing, I'm probably going to win. And sometimes I think he's going to win this fight, Robert Valentin. So I think I might have a little bit of money on that money line.
Yeah, maybe. I'm just taking the under. I'm not laying minus 550 on Godier. I'm just taking the under instead. Because Valentin can finish early as well. Had a couple first round finishes in the Tough House. He has a lot of first round finishes. Godier has a lot of first round finishes. I think they're going to stand and bang. I like the under here rather than laying the minus 550. So that's how I'm playing it. And yeah, I like this. I like Valentin. I just wish they'd give him a more favorable matchup. Like I want to see this guy like if he loses this, he's on a 3-fight skid and might get cut. So I don't get what's going on here. I don't like what they're doing to Valentin.
Yeah.
Let's see. What's up, Elijah Wan? This gives me Josias Musasa vibes. That was ridiculous. That was absolutely ridiculous. Second biggest bet of the night on Valentin, taking a big shot on the dog.
I don't mind it.
Valentin lost to a dude who landed 17 strikes. Goody just needs 5 strikes per round, and he's gold.
Gautier might not even need 5 strikes per round. Man. He might only need 1, dude. This guy's a legendary power, that's for sure.
That knee was deadly. He finished Medina with. Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
All right. Let's keep on moving on to the next fight. It is going to be Dan Ige going against Patricio Shih Tzu.
Patricio Shih Tzu, yes. He is no longer, you can't use the word Pitbull if you're going to fight like a fucking Shih Tzu. So yeah, he's from now on, he's Patricio Shih Tzu.
All right.
I've had enough of it.
Got it. Dan Ige versus Patricio Shih Tzu. We got Ige, 33 years old, 5'7" with a 71-inch reach. Shih Tzu, 38 years old, 5'5" with a 65-inch reach. Ige His 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Decision loss to Bryce Mitchell. Knockout win against Andre Fili. Decision loss to Diego Lopez. Decision loss to Lerone Murphy. And a knockout win against Sean Woodson. As far as Shih-Tzu, he is 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Made his debut against Yair Rodriguez in what was probably one of the most disappointing debuts in a very long time. So, yeah, coming into that Rodriguez fight, I picked Rodriguez. I didn't bet him. I wish I would have, but I just wasn't impressed with Pitbull these last several years. So Pitbull is a guy that, he can, back in the day, he could knock you out. He could take you down and sub you. I haven't seen Pitbull wrestle in years. Yeah. It's been years since I've seen him complete a takedown, like maybe 5 years since he's wrestled. He's now 38 years old, and he doesn't throw any volume. I think his durability is going. He's getting older. I mean, he's 38 at featherweight. Calvin Kattar's 37 at featherweight, and look at how he looked last night. So I'm worried about Pitbull. I wish he would have came into the UFC like 5 years ago. Would have been perfect. But at this stage of his career, I don't know how he's going to really win many fights. It's hard to win fights, Weezy, if you don't wrestle, if you don't throw anything, and you don't do anything. Like it's hard to win fights that way. So I like Ige here. I like him a decent amount. I feel like Ige's higher volume, a lot more power. The durability advantage is insane. He's younger. I think this should be Ige. Like, it's when Ige's losing fights, a lot of the times it's people taking him down. And like I said, I haven't seen Pitbull wrestle in just a very long time. So maybe he surprises me and wrestles, but I just haven't seen it. And I'm not sure at 38 years old, he's all of a sudden going to turn back into somebody who's going to get takedown. So I like Ige here. And I think he might even be able to knock out Pitbull. I've seen Pitbull hurt, and in his last several fights got dropped by Yair. Even got hurt against Jeremy Kennedy in a fight he won. Got knocked out the fight before that. So he's been getting hurt more and more the older he's got. So I think Ige should get it done here. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Ige finish only, maybe Ige inside the distance, but I think that finish only for Ige, that's been I bet that every fight. Yeah. I bet it every goddamn fight. I've never lost money on it. I've cashed a few different times. I'm going to do it again this time. Yeah, I mean, Shih-Tzu went out there and just shat the bed. I mean, like, he didn't even try. So, and I mean, like, when you're fighting Yair Rodriguez and you're watching the tape, you're like, all right, I'm going to try to take this guy down. And yeah, I mean, he went 1 for 4 on his takedowns and was able to get 7% control time against Yair. And listen to this, Brady. This is hilarious. Right. Against in 12.2 minutes of distance striking time against Yair, this guy attempted 4.1 strikes per minute.
Ooh,
yeah. So the of those 12 minutes that he was on the feet, Patricio Shih-Tzu attempted. He attempted, right? And this is not what he landed. He actually only attempted 50 strikes over 12 minutes. He didn't even try, like, and he's going to be much smaller than everybody. He's 39 years old, or 38 years old. So yeah, it's over for him. This guy's undersized. He doesn't try. He doesn't care. And Dan Ige, you're never going to finish that guy. And Dan Ige hits extremely hard. Dan Ige does try. So I'm going with the guy that tries in Dan Ige, and I think he's going to get the job done. And I'll probably be on the Ige finish only here for a pretty big amount of money.
Yeah, I think they're going to be onto it. But we both cashed on the finish only Ige's last fight against Sean Woodson.
It was an easy bet, man. I had like a 4 or 5 unit bet on that. I don't remember which, but it was a big bet.
Yeah, I only had like 2 units on it, and I was pissed that I didn't put 5 on it because it's just stupid. It's stupid. Yeah. So we'll see if they mess it up again in this fight. I doubt they do, but hey, you never know.
You never know, man. Dan Ige finish only props are one of the best bets that you can make in MMA. And yeah, we'll see where it is. I mean, he's a pretty big favorite here already. So I'm kind of expecting like a -300, but we'll see where it goes.
We'll see. Yeah, maybe they messed it up. Ige all day here. Ige actually has a size advantage here, which is wild. Yeah, we don't typically see that.
Yeah.
We don't typically see that from Ige.
Shih-Tzus are small.
50K to milk Shih-Tzu for full 3. Yeah, potential milk. Could be potential milking. We haven't talked about potential milkings tonight. This could be early running. Dan Ige money line. I like it. I'm interested to see where the Dan Ige knockout props at as well. Because right now, Weezy, they have the over 2.5 at -275.
Wow. Yeah,
Ige
so
hits
like you
hard.
could maybe it's just play Ige inside the distance instead of the finish only, because the finish only will probably be juiced to the tits. But if they think that the fight's going to decision that often, then you might be able to get a really good finish prop number on Ige then.
Jeez. I don't know how they always underestimate Ige's finishing ability. Like the KO prop against Woodson was huge. The KO prop against Feely, and I was on that. That was like plus 350 or something like that.
Yeah.
They always underestimate I mean, this guy has a ton. How many knockdowns does Ige have in the UFC? It's got to be a lot.
Ige has 7 knockdowns over 19 UFC fights, and he's absorbed 2. But he has 5 wins by KO. So if this dude's knocking you down, it's over.
Yeah, that's true. Same reason I took Godier last fight. Old dudes don't like to wrestle. That's true. That's true. I've noticed that.
Except for Kamaru Usman.
Except for Kamaru Usman. Decatur was so awful. It was bad, man.
Yeah, terrible.
It was bad. Pitbull seems so little, or maybe Yair was just so tall. Little bit of both.
Yeah.
A little bit of both. 2 midgets fighting, can't wait. Dan 42K after tax. Ige. Love it. All right, let's keep moving on. And it's going to, are we already at the main event?
And we're at the main event, yes.
We're flying by tonight. We have, but wait, before we get into it, we got to check the likes here. Last week, you guys killed it with, I think we got almost 200 likes. I think we got like 170 during the show last week. Right now, we are at 113. So let's try to get those likes up, guys. We do appreciate it. And we do appreciate our sponsor. And that's our guy, MMA_Very on X. Guys, go check him out on X. Go give him a follow. Go show him some love. Keeping the lights on here for the Stat Diggers show. All right, main event. Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier, 3 for the BMF title. We got Max Holloway, 33 years old, 5'11" with a 69-inch reach. Poirier, 36 years old, 5'9" with a 72-inch reach. Max Holloway, 3 years younger, 2-inch height advantage, and we got Poirier with a 3-inch reach advantage. Holloway is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Decision loss against Volkanovski, decision win against Arnold Allen, knockout win against Korean Zombie, knockout win against Justin Gaethje, and then a knockout loss to Ilia Topuria. As far as Dustin Poirier, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Submission win against Oliveira, submission win against Michael Chandler, knockout loss to Justin Gaethje, knockout win against Benoit Saint-Denis, and then a submission loss to Islam Makhachev. So this is a weird one for me in terms of making a pick. I'm really struggling with this one because there's a lot that goes into it, and I'm pretty much tossing the first 2 fights out of the window. Like their first fight was 12 years. It was a long time ago. Dustin Poirier submission first round. The second fight, it was I think back in like 2019, 2020. It was a long time ago as well, and Dustin Poirier, it was a close fight. Dustin Poirier rocked Max Holloway multiple times in the first round. It was clear that at that moment, Holloway probably wasn't, built for 155 pounds, couldn't really eat the shots well of Poirier. Poirier still wasn't able to knock him out, and Holloway kind of came on, and it was a competitive fight, but Poirier got the job done. And then fast forward a few years later, and we're here right now, and Poirier, this is going to confirm to be his retirement fight. And Holloway seems to be kind of filling in at this weight class, and I think Holloway is probably going to end his career as a lightweight. But yeah, Poirier doesn't look washed to me or anything. Like he held his own in certain spots against Islam Makhachev. It took Islam 5 rounds, just about to submit him. Knocked out Benoit Saint-Denis as a pretty big underdog. I don't know. It's a tricky one. The thing I'm worried about with Max Holloway is, and we've talked about this, Wheezy. Max Holloway is one of those guys where we're like, this guy's never getting knocked out. Are you kidding me? Max Holloway's never getting knocked out. Nobody's ever knocking out Max Holloway. And then it happened. And we see it time and time again. These guys with that incredible durability, once that chin cracks, it goes. And that's kind of what I'm worried about here. Like Holloway's absorbed the most significant strikes in UFC history by a mile. And he got knocked out brutally for the first time in his career. Prior to that, he got dropped. Not officially, but he did get dropped by Justin Gaethje. I'm wondering if the durability of Holloway is starting to go at this stage of his career, which rightfully so. But I'm also wondering if Poirier, at 36 years old in his retirement fight, has enough in the tank to potentially take advantage of that durability. So for me, I kind of just want to sit back and watch. I know it sucks passing on the main event, but I really feel like I don't have a great read on this fight. I'm worried about the chin of Max Holloway. I'm worried about where Dustin Poirier's at in his career. So I think I might just stay away from this one, Weezy. But I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this fight here.
Yeah, it's a hard one to cap, because with Holloway coming off a KO loss, it changes the narrative completely on what we can expect from Max Holloway. It's hard to say, like, this is a guy whose durability was ironclad and unquestionable, and we've seen him hurt so many times. That's why we knew the durability was that good, and then it gets cracked. It gets cracked by the guy who's going to crack everybody's chin. Wait until Ilia Topuria goes up to heavyweight and gets that going. I mean, like this guy. I mean, so yeah, I mean, wins over Gaethje, over a Korean Zombie in dominant fashion. A good win over Arnold Allen, where he pretty cleanly won those first 4 rounds, and then Allen had a pretty good 5th round. So yeah, if you're not Alexander Volkanovski or Ilia Topuria, Max is just getting the job done out there. And with he's 33 and Dustin is 36. So I think that Dustin might be a little bit closer to being done with MMA than Max is. And because of that, I'm going to lean Max, but Dustin's fighting in New Orleans, man. The crowd's going to be going nuts for him in his home state of Louisiana. And he's had these fights with Holloway already and is looking good in those fights. So it's a really difficult one to cap. And I think the market has it right. I think that we should be very close to a pick 'em here. And Max is a slight favorite at -135, even though he's lost the fights to Dustin. So I think that that's interesting. It shows that my analysis of the trends might be correct in that maybe Holloway does have a little bit more left in the tank at this point. Maybe he is performing at a higher level over his recent fights. And the fact that he is 3 years younger and maybe a little bit further away from a retirement might make him perform in this fight a little bit better than what Dustin does. So I think they got it right. It's hard to find value on either side, in my opinion. And the over 4.5 is -145. Normally that would be like a pretty much a max bet. But now, God, it just got tricky, didn't it, Brady?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, after the Ilia KO loss for Max, how do we feel? I mean, like, I still think that that's probably a good play. Over 4.5, -145. Let's see where my model is showing.
It's weird because Poirier, all Poirier's 5-round fights, besides the Hooker fight, all of them finished in the inside the distance. But Holloway, a lot of his do go to decision.
Yeah, 3 of 13 fights for Poirier went over 4.5. Only 3 of 13, but for Holloway, it's 9 of 16. So actually, like, what my model really likes are the unders, because these guys have had a lot of 5-round fights finish. And then also, with Poirier's durability maybe not where it was, and the same thing with Max, I could see it happening. But stylistically, I think that this one goes over. So I don't know. It's a weird fight, and I'm going to have to look a lot further into it before I start to feel like I want to have any money on this, because this feels like the kind of fight, Brady, where if you don't have money on it, you're going to get to see an amazing fight. And I don't like Poirier any more than I like Holloway. I mean, these guys are both legends to me. So I'm not rooting for one guy here more than the other. So I'm looking forward to seeing what I think is going to be a really good main event on Saturday night.
Yeah, I don't think I'm touching this one. I don't think I am. A lot of like if Holloway didn't get knocked out in his last fight, I probably would be betting Holloway here. But I'm worried that once that chin cracked, is it going to be the same? Because Poirier was lighting him up in their second fight. Like, Poirier was beating the crap out of him. Holloway was wobbling all across the cage for like a full 3 minutes. Can Holloway still take these big shots? Because Poirier still hits hard. Like, Poirier just knocked up Benoit Saint-Denis, who's next level durable. So yeah, I'm kind of worried about the durability of Holloway, but yeah, I think I am leaning his way. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to pass on it. I'll give a like, but I want to see some feet. If you want to see some feet, go to feetfinder.com. They'll have you covered. I have a feeling most of the favorites will win. Yeah, I think so as well. There are a couple dogs sticking out though. And yeah, Poirier did not submit Charles. It was Oliveira that submitted Poirier. Typo. Max versus Dustin goes to decision. Two legends putting on a war. I'm leaning that way as well. Fight goes to decision. Yep, once the chin's gone, it's gone. He almost had him out of there in round one in their last fight. Yeah, I thought Poirier was going to be the first person to finish Max back in 2019, but couldn't quite get him out of there. Dustin has never lost 2 fights back-to-back. Is that true? That's crazy if so, because this guy's fought a million times.
Never 17-7 in the UFC, so it's mathematically possible.
Nice. I don't think Dustin is wrestling. I don't think so either. I think he wants to have a fun fight. Yeah, that's kind of what they're... Yeah, I think they're going to do that. They're going to have a fun fight. I don't think anybody's going to wrestle here.
Yeah.
Let's forget Dustin was put out cold by Gaethje. His chin has been cracked too. That is true.
I know.
That is true. Dustin looked good against Islam. I don't want to say he looked good, but he looked a lot better than I expected him to. He looked a lot better than I expected him to look against Islam. Like Dustin was looking solid in the striking, and Islam did eventually submit him, but it was like round 5. I've been thinking DP by sub, possibly. Diamonds are forever. Diamonds are forever.
Yeah.
Max's fights with Volk forced him to really up his game. He's a lot better than 2019 Max. DP by Gilly. Yeah, he said he's gonna try to go for that Gilly. He said if he gets to Gilly, he's making a Gilly statue or something. So we'll see. It's be hard to Gilly Max Holloway. I'll tell you that.
Has he ever even won a fight by guillotine choke in the UFC? Because he goes for it all the time, but I don't remember him ever getting one.
He tried like 5 times against Benoit Saint-Denis.
Yeah. And like the guys, like even like Cormier, like cage side was like, stop going for the guillotine.
He has no guillotines.
That's wild. It's his favorite submission, and he's never won by guillotine. That's crazy. In the UFC, he probably got one outside the UFC though.
Yeah, potentially. He got a Darce choke back in 2011, a triangle armbar against Holloway in their first fight back in 2012, a Darce choke. No Gillies yet in the UFC.
Huh. Wild.
Is that the real fluff? Of course it's the real Fluffy. Of course
Dude, there's no way that's the real Fluffy. Dude, he never even watches the UFC. If you listen to Anthony, like he doesn't, like listen to the thought that this guy who doesn't even watch like his opponents or the UFC, that he'd be posting up for stat tickers for 2.5 hours. If that's the case, then that my ego would triple if Anthony Fernandez was actually watching this show. But there's no way that is Fluffy, man.
That's hilarious. Yeah, Dustin Poirier recently said he's getting a bronze statue of him guillotining someone in his front lawn. Yeah, I heard that.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. All right, Weezy, we went through all 14 fights. Now it is time to come up with a Stat Diggers parlay. Did not come through last week, but we're going to change that around this week. A lot of options. A lot of great options for a potential parlay piece this week. Anything sticking out for you here?
For me, it's a lot of totals this week. But there's some good money lines as well. I think Dan Ige can beat a Shih Tzu pretty easily, so -205 doesn't look bad for me there. I like the over 2.5 rounds in, what was it? There's a big
do you like the Johnson Zellhuber over 1.5?
That's the one. That's what that over 1.5 was really good. And I also like the over 2.5 for Vettori versus Allen.
I'll take Ige money line.
Ige money line. And then if we were to do the Zellhuber Johnson over 1.5, that would be plus 123. Or we could do the Jackson McVey Bruno Ferreira under 1.5 rounds. That would be plus 107.
Whichever. I like them both. I think they both hit.
I mean, let's do McVey Ferreira. I think that's a good one. Yeah, let's do that. So Dan Ige at -205, under 1.5 rounds for McVey versus Ferreira at minus 255, plus 107.
All right. I like it. Let's cash it. So that is the Stat Diggers parlay of the week. The Ige money line and the under 1.5 rounds in the Ferreira fight. I like it a lot. All right. So now it is time for the on-site piping of the week and the milking of the week, the moment you guys have all been waiting for. And let's go through them. So we have a lot of options. So for the piping of the week, my goodness, like we have Bruno Ferreira could pipe Jackson McVey, could pipe him up on site. Ryan Spann could pipe Lucas Presky. Jim Crute could potentially pipe Prachnio, but could also milk him. Islam Dulattov could absolutely pipe Adam Fugat. Yeah. Godier, if he's winning this fight, he's winning it by a brutal piping. And Ige could potentially pipe Pitbull or Shih Tzu. And Holland could pipe Rodriguez. So we have a lot of potential piping. So I'll give 2, you give 2, and then we'll kind of discuss and go from there. Let's nail it down to 4, and we'll go from there. So, who's your first candidate for a potential piping?
Okay, my first candidate for the piping of the week is going to be Islam Dulattov.
I'll throw in Ryan Spann for funsies.
Yeah, why not? Why not? I also think Dan Ige over Patricio Pitbull is definitely a potential piping. I mean, that guy can knock you out of the park when he lands.
And I'll throw in Godier. But I liked your first choice there. That was going to be my first choice, so I think it's
I figured it was. I was trying to pick something else, and I'm like, dude, this guy's got a 3-minute average fight time. I mean, he's going to pipe this dude on sight.
All right, so let's make it official then. Okay. To pipe poor Adam Fugat on site at UFC 318. All right, it's official. The on-site piping of the week is Islam Dulattov to pipe poor Adam Fugat on site at UFC 318. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy is right.
Can't wait to see Islam Dulattov in there. That's going to be a great one.
Now it's time for the milking. You don't have a ton of options. Jimmy Crute could potentially milk Prachnio. Ige, I don't think it's it'd be a piping if you knocked him out. Kevin Holland could potentially milk D-Rod. There's not a lot of milking options, Weezy. I'm struggling here.
For me, it's Jimmy Crute. If you're getting arm triangled from the wrong side, this one might actually be Jimmy Crute by Valentin choke.
It
could be, dude.
I think that's where we're going to have to go. I don't see any other milking opportunities on this card. And this dude Prachnio, he got milked by Bukowskis. Yeah, he's not milking anybody. So yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's make it official then. Last time of the week, Jimmy, the Brute, Crute to milk, Marcin, Prachnio, night, so much milk. Ew. All right, it's official. The Stat Diggers milking of the week is Jimmy the Brute Crute to milk Marcin Prachnio Saturday night. So much milk. Ew.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be Jimmy. He hasn't won in a while, man, but they're giving him a matchup that didn't they try to make this matchup a little bit ago too?
I don't know. Did they?
I feel like Crute was supposed to fight Prachnio. I might be wrong about that. But they already made it.
Oh yeah, they did. They did. And Prachnio pulled out. Prachnio pulled out, huh?
Yeah, good pullout for him, man. But they were like, "You're not getting out of this. We need a win out of our guy Jimmy the Brute Crute." So they made him come back and do it. So
that's interesting. I forgot about that. All right, so what are you guys liking in the chat here? Crute, if he goes to the ground for a potential milking.
Yeah.
Let's get milky. Let's do it. Let's do it. Derek Lewis's wife piping of the week. I bet she did get piped. According to Lewis.
Yes, ground and pound.
Got some milk there. Got some milk. Goat milk. Got some milk. Oh God. Oh boy. Is Islam that high fashion model?
Yes.
It's a fashion model?
He's a model, yeah.
Nice. Milk the milkman. Goat milk all over the canvas. Oh boy. Ige to milk the tiny Shih Tzu. Utters of Patricio. Oh, if I see Sydney Sweeney, I'm piping on side. I'm right there with you.
Yes.
Oh, good heavens. I'm taking that. Okay.
Oh, good
I haven't heard that phrase in so long. Okay. All right. There it is. So much milk. Did it not update?
It didn't.
I'm not retyping that. We'll do it next week. We'll save it for next week.
We've worked hard enough.
StreamYard, get some help. Type that all that for nothing. Should have been Judice to milk Chlamydia Caliari. Oh yeah, Judice could potentially milk her. Forgot about Judice. Islam's a male model. There we go. If Crute can't beat Prachnio, needs to retire. Yeah, if he can't beat Prachnio, needs to retire again.
Yeah.
Crute the Brute Milkman. Holland plus Oliveira parlay. All right, guys, we did it. We went through it all. Gonna kick it to Uncle Weezy. Uncle Weezy, you were on a million shows last week. Anything going on this week?
Yeah, I'm going to be on VB MMA Picks' show tomorrow afternoon. We're going to do a 3-fight breakdown on that one. So I'll be doing that, and then I'll be doing my content for my Odds Shopper probability stats and content subscribers. We do Balls Deep Breakdowns, which is a full card breakdown on Wednesday nights. We do Probability, which is a plus EV prop betting show on Thursday afternoons. And you get access to my fight write-ups, my stat packages, which you see on the screen here, all my track bets, access to the Discord, $25 a month. Check out your Uncle Weezy on oddsshopper.com. On a 2-fight win or on a 2-week winning streak here, looking to make it 3. It's an interesting card, Brady, and there's a lot of juice. I think this might be a card where I have a lot of units where I'm laying some juice and hoping that the fighters that are do what they're supposed to do out there. But let's make some money on this card.
Yep, I'm looking to make it a 3-event winning streak as well, and it all comes down to Jimmy, the Brute.
Yep.
Crute, who is or may not be at the bar right now. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, New Orleans, I don't know. New Orleans and Jimmy Crute, he might be getting wasted.
Yeah, but even a wasted Jimmy Crute should be able to beat Marcin Prachnio. So we'll
forget that you're supposed to do the arm triangle from the other side, but still win.
Still get it. Yeah. Oh God. All right. Yeah, there you guys have it. Like, subscribe, look out for my content throughout the week, and good luck for UFC 318. Good night, everybody. See ya.